Hello and welcome back for what is potentially the final time. For the letter, anyway. So, as I said last time, I did a little bit of research to determine how to achieve the true ending for a game that came out in 2017. So it's about 6 years old now. And now I know. Or at least I very well suspect what it is I did wrong during the survival run. Now, I won't say what I have to do, but I will leave you with a hint, because showing is better than telling. Information is key. And as I've changed very little between this latest playthrough and the survival playthrough, I'm going to actually forgo posting the entirety of what we have already seen. The changes that were undertaken in order to achieve the true ending will reveal themselves as we progress this chapter, which will be the final chapter. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the conclusion of the letter. I just can't get it out of my head, no matter how hard I try.
You would be nothing without me. Your company would be buried in debt and you'd be begging on the streets if it weren't for me.
I can still feel their stares, the way they judge me with their tiny empty minds. Pinpricks on the back of my head, eyes all over me. They don't look at me with awe and desire, but with accusations and disgust. And if I don't do something, everything I have, everything I've earned, will all amount to nothing.
Honey, I'm home!
I could think of nothing else all throughout the day, and it has left me nervous and agitated. I've done little else but worry about it. Why, I almost shot a thug in the foot for laughing too loud while I was enjoying a sandwich. And I've contemplated, jumping back and forth between yes and no, will and won't, mulling over a word that starts with M, and I've been doing so with great malice. Murder on my mind. It seems a bit too much, I know. It's just a thought. But thoughts are dangerous things. Who cares what the buffoons think of me? They are beneath me. But Hannah, to think that she feels that way about me. I can't stomach the thought that she thinks so lowly of me, that she may have always believed me to be less than her. It was the way she looked at me with eyes so full of anger and hatred that burns me most of all.
There is no prince that loves another better. She is not deserving.
Darling! Love! Buttercup! Why aren't you answering?
Upstairs, Luke.
Your princely dignity must not suffer that wrench.
No, I mustn't. I am beneath no one. My steps are slow and heavy as I climb the stairs. One of my knives rests neatly up my sleeve, and its cold blade will not let me forget its presence nor my intent. And when I enter our room and look upon her face where she stays, I have a thought that nearly makes me laugh. I might not be a prince here to save the princess in the tower. I just might be the dragon that takes and kills. Yet, she does not know that. Not yet. Even I am unsure of which way it'll go right now.
This lewd woman is not worthy. She should not
Here I am expecting a warm welcome home, and here you are locked up in the room like a shut-in. Oh, Hannah, what am I to do with you? You're looking a little bit pale. Are you all right?
I must have had something funny, actually. Maybe from the party last night. Maybe breakfast or lunch.
Oh, if only that were the case. Perhaps you would have been too sick to do what you did to me last night.
You Hans had been acting really strangely while you were gone. Do you think?
Do I think what? That he poisoned you? Don't be silly. He wouldn't do such a thing unless I tell him to.
That bastard was told to look after her. Make sure she doesn't leave. A guard for the princess. I did not tell him the extent of my plans, only that I hoped to talk to her, to see how this has come to be. But I can't even find reason to try and forgive her for what she's done. If I am to do anything, it would be best to control the situation so I can steer the story. One cannot get away with crimes as much as I have without being a director of a nature. I can be the loving husband, distraught over his wife's death if needed. Or if she were to say, disappear, that can be arranged as well, whichever I see fit. A great hesitance comes over me, though, as I hold her in my arms. One that I haven't felt before. Even things such as killing come easy with the idea that it is for my well-being. But then again, this is Hannah. Sweet Hannah. Am I really to do this? Perhaps we can still fix things.
She will bring you nothing but troubles and vexations.
Don't you worry. If you are sick, I'll take care of you myself. I did tell you that you'll have my afternoon and every moment after for as long as you live, didn't I? I am just so worried about my poor wifey. That Rochelle woman had some nerve, and I've insulted your honor so. My poor wifey has been through so much.
Silently, I procure my knife and press it against the small of her back. This close, I can feel the hitch of her breath, and it is all too easy to imagine the quickening of her heart. To know I hold another's human's life in my hands can be rather breathtaking at times. It is power, after all. Enticing and intoxicating.
My poor, spoiled wifey, Hannah fucking Evans. Silver spoon in her mouth, never had to lift a finger in her goddamn life. Poor wifey trying to ruin everything for me. All that I've worked so hard for. She'll just take it all away. Just like that. We've got to fix that. You know, you and I, we have to make sure you don't pull a dodgy stunt like the one you did last night. Even if we have to take you out of the picture. Permanently.
It makes one feel like a god and a monster in equal measures. But one cannot be both. So which one am I? I'm...
Kill her. Kill her now.
Why are you doing this?
It is for the best.
Because, Hannah, darling, it's never enough. I want it all.
She is only getting in our way.
You don't have to do this. You can still have it all, Luke. Just please. Don't you love me?
Oh, I do love you so very, very much.
Oh, I still do, Hannah. I do love you.
I love you. I love you. But truth be told, you would have been hurt sooner or later, one way or another. The least I can do is make it quick and painless, and have you in my arms as you go. Others go out screaming, suffering, because there's just so much pain in this world. This is a gift, right?
But you're outliving your usefulness. In fact, you're becoming a pain in the arse, just like your dear old dad. Now I'm doing you a favor, and you'll be with him again. Real soon.
Also, in case you didn't realize in the Everybody Dies playthrough, that's him confessing that he murdered her father.
There's no prince more caring and loving. Now be rid of her.
Which is why I must do this, even though it pains me so.
What's so funny?
There's nothing funny. So why am I laughing as well?
Wait, what's that? So beautiful.
How does one get away with murder? By being clean and efficient. By being methodical. By being ready to do anything and everything to make sure you aren't caught and implicated of the crime. A knife in the back. They never quite see it coming now, do they? And the knife stays in there until the blood stops flowing as freely as it does. A cork stopper for something a lot more gory than wine. Means a lot less blood on my person as well. There's no time to delay. No time to think twice. Will I start to drag the body? Face down so the blood doesn't spill on the floor. I can't take her out into the hall just yet, in case an errant servant strays past, but the room next to ours is remote and inaccessible to the rest of the house. Hana has forbidden anyone to go in there. That would be the children's room as she has wished it to be. A pet project of hers. Only she and Makala have been allowed. Nobody would ever dare set a foot in there. Even I have not, though it was mostly out of indifference. It'll have to do for now. A thorough cleaning will also have to be scheduled. Some lye will need to be purchased, or actually, daffodils. Covered up with fertilizer and we can plant daffodils on it. Alibis will have to be planned. Possibilities for that are endless and will have to be thought through later. In the meantime, my body moves on autopilot. How many times have I done this? I don't really know. Although it has been a while, I act with a familiarity that I should be disturbed by. My mind screams, "It's Hana!" But a part of me snuffs it out. It tells me to be quiet and be a good little boy. I've done this before, and being sentimental has not done me any favors. What I do now has gotten me far in life, so why should this be any different? It was Hana. Now it's simply a cooling body. That's all this is. A body and a crime scene I need to be rid of. Right? In my hurry to hide the body, what I see next blindsides me.
What? What is all this?
Walls and off-white. A simple base to be painted on with another color makes the room stand in contrast to the others plastered with wallpaper. The area is sparsely finished, with little more than a little toy chest tucked in the corner of the room along with the shelf, barren except for a few books and trinkets. 2 teddy bears stare down at me from their shelves, but it is what stands by the window that catches me off guard. There's a moment of confusion, as if my brain has shut down and it has yet to catch what I am seeing. I imagine I must be a ghastly sight when the blood has left my cheeks already. I have to clutch at my chest, fearing that my beating heart would just burst. I have to take a step back before I can stumble forward. I feel faint, like I'm floating, and any step I take will send me falling. Though it doesn't need much to take me off my feet. Not when my knees shake. And not when the body becomes too heavy, too much of a burden to carry. A crib. A crib of all bloody things stands in the corner, innocent and unassuming. I can almost hear their laughter, mocking me without pity, but none are as condemning as the sound of my own thoughts ringing in my head. Look at what you've done. Look at what you've destroyed. That's all you do, isn't it? Make a mess of and kill everything you touch. Is nothing precious? Is nothing sacred? Is nothing safe? You are your father's son. The possible implications of what I've done weighs heavily, looming over my head as she lays still in my arms. Any will I had, any strength I had mustered in order to hide what I've done seeps away. I can't hold on to her any longer. I've no right to. My very touch corrupts and stains everything with blood. And Hannah, she was just too pure, too good. I wasn't worthy. But I was too greedy, and I had ruined her too. With reverence, an odd thing I feel for someone I just murdered, I carefully put her down on the ground. That's all I can manage. Can't even pick myself up. Fatigue takes over me, and I resign myself to sit with my back against the wall. I killed her. I never thought I would actually go through with it. I have told myself many times in the past that I could kill her one day. After a fight, I would grit my teeth and tell myself that I could get rid of her. But when the anger has faded, I've always changed my mind. I needed her, wanted her alive. I've always managed to stay my hand, never to harm her, never with a fist nor an open palm. Now she's dead because of me. I know what I'm capable of. I've done so many selfish, heinous things in the pursuit of happiness, but to kill someone I actually love?
Wake up, Buttercup. This isn't real. This can't be happening. This is a nightmare. That's all it is.
There's no denying it. Not with the smell of blood. Her blood. Musty and nauseating, filling the air like a sickly, sweet perfume. It's a bit troubling how I'm used to it. Death is something that I am all too familiar with. Death shaped me. It has given, and it has taken. Oh, how it has taken. I never liked it when it takes from me. And all of this room, if it meant what I think it does, I
killed them. I killed them.
Their blood is not the first to taint my hands. I've killed men and women, whether it be by my own hands or by my own actions. But never children. After all, why would I condone the killing of someone who hasn't wronged me? Helpless and innocent little things. Their deaths do not serve me any purpose. I don't want to believe it.
No. Wake up! Open your eyes! Raise your sleepy head!
This is not real.
Wake up, little Lucille!
What have I done? I don't know how long I sat in there, faced with Hannah's corpse in that horrid room. For a brief moment, I had thought it was a good idea to sit her up, as if that would change anything. But the notion alone is stupid. One among the many, and it leaves me with little energy. At the very least, I managed to heave myself out at one point, only able to drag myself to the foot of our bed. Looking out the window shows the light has given way to darkness, enveloping everything with the night sky. On any other night, it might have given me comfort, but now I want to rewind time and have my sunshine once more. I loved her.
And that's why she had to go.
To be honest, I really don't know how to feel.
Face it, Lucille Mitchell-Wright. You owe me everything.
I was just blinded with rage with how she humiliated me at the party. I've worked so hard to be where I am, but in the fickle society of the rich and famous, my own wife turning on me like that is basically social suicide. I was so angry, ready to protect what I'd built for myself at all costs. I still feel the anger burning net low, but for some reason, it is directed at myself. With it, confusion rears. Questions come and go as I second-guess myself and my actions.
It had to be done. She was getting in our way.
Yes. Yes, it had to be done. Was she getting in my way? No. No, that's not it. I did it. I did it because I don't know. A rawness scrapes at me until I'm left feeling cold and hollow. It carves out my insides and has me wanting to scratch at my throat. It's crushing, suffocating, and it makes me want to claw at my own hard throat. I've only felt this once before. When she died. One can only call it grief. Perhaps this is the worst feeling of all.
She deserved it. It's all her fault. With her out of the picture, I can focus on me. I can do what I want without compromising. And besides, I never wanted to be a father anyway.
You need neither that whore of a woman nor her children.
I would never want to be the father. I can't imagine what kind of father I would be, and wouldn't wish myself on any child. Not with who I had as an example. Damien Wright was not a very good father in the short time I had him as one. In fact, he hadn't been a father at all. He cared little for me, didn't even know about my existence until he needed an heir. There are others out there, other children that I could call my brothers and sisters. I know of one brother from Brighton, older than I by many years, who was cast aside because he was ill. Another born within the same week as I was ignored because he had a preference for men. He chose me not because he loved me, but because I was the only son of acceptable standards among the many illegitimate children he'd conceived. I wasn't a son to take care of, but a successor to groom in order to keep the right name alive. I was a tool, an investment. Not family, not even a person. Not that I hardly knew my father as one either. But even without that, I wouldn't want to bring a child onto this earth. I know the world with all it has to offer, cold, cruel, and harsh, in which no true kindness can survive in one piece. Humanity is more beastly than any animal that roams the land. Humans can be the most horrible of monsters. I am one of them. So, if I'm a monster, then why does this hurt me so much?
This is fine. I'm fine.
Everything's fine. That has to be the biggest lie I've ever said. And I've lied a lot.
You feel pain now, my prince, because of your kind and caring heart. But that shall pass.
It's a laughable enough notion on its own. Of course, humor is subjective. Stroken comes in with a grim look on his face. I would assume that he was expecting a bloodbath in here, judging by the slowness of his steps. There is a mess in here, just not that kind. I don't think he was expecting me to be in the state that I am. Sitting on the ground, haggard, looking with blood drying on the sleeves of my shirt, all while I giggle like I've just heard the funniest joke in the world.
What is so funny?
We would have been so beautiful together.
Hannah's last words sound like a terribly bad joke, coming from me.
There were toys in there, you know. And this bloody book of names. Do you know what this means? Did you? Did you know about this? And don't you dare lie to me. If you knew about this and you let me kill my own child, I'll fucking murder yours.
I stare him straight in the eye, just daring him to lie about this. If he knew, he should have stopped me. If he knew that Hannah was pregnant and did not tell me, he does not show it. Silence is not telling, but my blood boils as I feel how he judges me. You're a monster, Luke Wright, he says without speaking.
Don't look at me like that!
I bet he knew, and still kept quiet about it. This is why I mustn't trust anyone. Liars and thieves, the lot of them. Of course, that makes me quite the hypocrite now, doesn't it? But it's a dog-eat-dog world. Becoming one of them is going to be inevitable sooner or later, had I been innocent of these sins in the first place. I want to lash out, to scratch and bite and tear, become the monster I really am. I am the dragon that craves treasure and sets fire to the world. I'll kill him. I'll kill them all. I already killed Hana, after all. Why should anyone else be safe?
She asked me to keep it secret. Unsure if you would be happy to be a father.
So he did know.
I did not think you would do such a thing. I let myself hope for the best, for once. You loved her so. The question is, would you have done things differently because of this knowledge?
That is the question, isn't it?
Would you listen to me? To anyone other than her, for that matter? If they forbade you from doing as you please?
And that's the kicker, isn't it? Because I don't know the answer to that myself. I want to scream. But I just feel so tired that I can no longer protest. When I'm picked off the floor by the arm like I'm some reprehensible waif. I say nothing as I'm ushered into bed and told to sleep. And as the lights are turned off, the terrace doors are locked, closed, and the curtains shut, only then do I manage to speak.
What? Not going to tuck me in and tell me to have sweet dreams?
Nothing. He doesn't speak or even acknowledge that he heard me. The man merely collects the dirty laundry and leaves without a second glance. There's nothing but silence, cold and lonely and oppressing. How long has it been since I've slept alone? Far too long. I can't even imagine how I've managed to sleep without a warm body beside me before I had Hana. Still, the fatigue soon catches up and lulls me into sleep's embrace. It is not her sobs that I hear, but his, hers, theirs. I'll never know now, will I? I've killed them. By my own doing, I've ended all of it, even before anything had begun. Their blood drips from my hands, pooling at my feet, lapping at my ankles, like the cold, suffocating embrace of my sins. They creep up on my limbs, slow and unhurried, twisting and turning. Up and up it goes, until nothing but a sharp guttural cry escapes from my mouth. Then all at once,
It would have been so beautiful.
I choke back a scream and wake up in a cold sweat. With my heart pounding in my ears, it takes a while to remember where I am. In the dark and cold of the room, one can't fault me for feeling ill at ease. It isn't as bright as the penthouse, and the renovations did little to change how old it feels. We've been here for less than a week. It'll take a bit more time to adjust. It's hard to feel cozy, though, when I'm bloody freezing. Nudging the lump of fabric next to me, I sigh.
It's cold. Don't hog the sheets, Hana.
She always did this, though. It hardly bothered me. Growing up, I was lucky to have something to use as a mattress. I'm not the one who grew accustomed to Egyptian cotton with a thread count of 800. Besides, the warmth that Hana exuded on her own is usually enough to keep me sleeping through the night. The temperature tonight must be something else with how chilly it is right now. It takes a while. Then I remember. It can't be Hana. So, who is it? The horrible image of Hana's cold corpse lying underneath the sheet comes to mind. Let it be anything but that. An intruder seeking warmth and shelter from the cold, dreary night. A maid sneaking in with mischief in mind. A hired hitman that has it out for my head. Even the last one would be better than finding her there. I can fight off a man with a gun. Can't say the same about the sight of her dead eyes reminding me of what I've done. The smart thing to do here is to get out, really. But nagging curiosity aside, I have to know what they're here for, and, more importantly, what they've seen. What if they've seen what is in the other room? Why linger? Do they hope to blackmail me? And this is a sick way of sticking around until they can talk to me? If I leave now, they might as well. Just the act of trespassing alone should be cause enough for a punishment. Whether that punishment leads to a swift execution remains to be seen. There's no sign that they've heard me, nor have they shown any sign of moving where they lie. With care, I go for the knife hidden under the side of the bed. It would be foolish of me to instigate anything while I'm unarmed, after all. To pull back the covers would be a more difficult affair, because reaching out to uncover who was underneath, I'd have to prepare for anything and assume the worst. So if I so much as see the nozzle of a gun, there's going to be another murder tonight. I see the rise and fall of the sheets, though it could easily be mistaken as the fault of the breeze. I'd like to believe that is breathing I'm hearing. Having an intruder in my bed, no matter how absurd, would be preferable to insanity. To know that my mind is rebelling against me, making me believe Hana still lives, and that she would even go anywhere near the monster that I've become. A great sense of foreboding comes over me, making me hesitate with my plan. I should just get out of here, not look back, and let security handle it. That's what they're there for. But I don't much like the idea of people swarming in here, especially not with a dead body in the other room. The fewer people that know about it, the better. That's always a good rule to follow with this sort of thing. I'm on my own then. But what's the worst that can happen? I've no reason to be afraid. There's no boogeyman under the bed, no monster in my closet. If anything, these things should be afraid of me. Right. I grab a fistful of sheets and throw them aside. Nothing. Nothing but a bunch of pillows stare back at me. Of course there's nothing under the sheets. Hana is dead, and no other body has or will ever grace my own bedside. But what I felt, the breathing I had heard, it isn't mine. Most likely the imaginary constructs of the guilty mind, of course. What else could it have been? Must be my imagination. I mean, look at me. I'm running on fumes and it's got me bloody paranoid. I need more sleep, and maybe I'll take the day off as well. That sounds delightful. Quiet and rest should do my head wonders. I'll have some much-needed winks, and I can figure out what I'm going to do with it. For now, hush, and off to the realm of sleep. Hush, and think of nothing but fields of daffodils. The pleasant dreams refuse to linger, however. With the morning comes another disturbance, both too loud and too sharp for my tastes. And I have very fine tastes. When the piercing rings of the doorbell reach even the bedroom, I am very much inclined to think the person who built this place lacks any sense of it. Perhaps the only thing good in this is that the ruckus has effectively chased away all the whispers and the needling guilt, if only temporarily. Still, it's a bloody annoying distraction. I can tell already that it's going to be a long day. It hasn't even started yet. Before the racket even lasts another minute, I'm peeling myself off the bed and heading straight for the main door. There will be another murder today if this doesn't let up. How quaint it seems. Everything in this blasted universe is intent on getting on my nerves as of late.
They are unworthy of your attention, my prince.
Gordon Bennett! Only a Nancy would knock at such an ungodly hour!
In the first place, I should be the one doing this. This is why I hired a valet, for fuck's sakes.
Where's that damn butler when I need him?
Cast them away. Drive them away.
I'll be honest, if only for today. With the mansion this quiet at this hour of the morning, it's easy to believe those little ghost stories might be real. But the only horror here is what I've done last night. The blood's still on my hands, regardless of how many times I've washed it off. Neither the deafening silence nor the biting chill spreading across every room in the place. There's no place for fear when guilt already burns that fuel. So, I wait for another second. When no butler still answers my call, I simply yank the doors open myself. Perhaps with more force than needed. And maybe it should be appropriately there, considering the person on the other side and the hour he dared appear on my doorstep. Even someone with half a brain knows not to disturb anyone this early. Brief confusion quickly gives way to anger, and before the bloody photographer can even get a word in, I'm hurling venom at him. It's less than he deserves, really. Hana would disapprove, scold me for treating the photographer with such disrespect. She seemed fond of him, after all, despite meeting him only once or twice. He is merely doing his job, she'd say. But she's no longer here now, isn't she?
You? How the hell did you get in here? What in 7 hells do you want? It's bloody 6 in the morning!
Listen, sir, I know this is not a good time.
Oh, it's not a good time! Did you even check the clock before coming here? I bet you didn't!
My home, my rules.
Unlike you, the ones living in this house need to sleep.
Oddly, the words taste foreign and bitter on my tongue. A remorse slowly taking home, creeping up and twining inside, reminding me of my transgressions when it hasn't done so before. Funny how the years have changed me. So I let anger guide them instead, if only because it's easier to cast it away when you have someone else to project it into. It just so happens that it's a person I will never take a liking to, no matter what the memory of her says in my mind. A plus, I suppose. A blessing. At least I won't feel any remorse if my ire does pierce.
Only you matters, no one else.
Come back when people are actually awake, or I'll call security on you.
He continues shouting even as I slam the door in his face. Some nonsense about the news lately, though I don't quite understand most of it. However, with the closed doors muffling the better part of it, and with no ears to listen, his tirade doesn't last too long. Eventually he leaves, and silence once again fills the room, as it should. In hindsight, maybe I should also call for psychiatric services? Certainly sounds mental just screaming like that. Suspicious man like him left roaming the immediate grounds? Nothing good can come of it. But if his presence will indeed bring a problem, a sign of bad things to come, I'll probably know soon enough. Worst comes to worst, Shrokin will take care of it, if need be. It's what I'm paying him for. Meantime, the bigger problem at hand. The hush is quickly replaced by the nightmarish reality of what I'd done and what I must do. Though the guilt weighs heavily upon me, I need to, push it aside and proceed as necessary. Emotions play no part in this. Regret will not keep me out of jail if I don't hide my crime one way or another. Oh, it should be easy. Just hide the body, no? Drain the body, crush the teeth, burn off her fingernails, and mar her face past the point of recognition before chopping the body up. There'll be plenty of options after that. Incineration, feeding it to animals, dumping it into the ocean. Oh, she would like that last one, wouldn't she? Of course, there's always the option to let her decompose and become fertilizer for my daffodils. That really isn't the big issue, though.
This whole murder business just ruins a good Sunday morning, does it not?
Hana. My dear Hana. Till death do us part.
And you must part. Forget about her.
Yet even in death I cannot let you go. My hands still shake at the very idea that I have your blood on them. My insides feel both numb and afire because of the sin I have committed. My lips quiver as I fight off the urge to cry prayers and apologies, in the hopes that they would be enough to bring you back. But I know this is no fairy tale. But I'm not going to wake up the slumbering princess with a kiss, true love or otherwise. No sentiment or good intention will change the cruel reality of life. Even if miracles do exist, I do not think they would happen for a man such as myself. The past cannot be changed. I must deal with the consequences to come, regardless of what the other person who has just walked in says. And he always has to have an opinion.
I think murder would ruin a sane person's mood no matter the day or time.
Continue mouthing off and there'll be a second one, Shraken. I've killed for less in the past. I've been soft, complacent, Those things need to change.
She made me soft. Over the years, I've been told marriage has made me a kept man. Of course, people stopped saying that after I shot a fool who thought disrespecting my wife would get him anywhere. Now that she's gone, though, well, who knows?
I mean no disrespect. Excuse the murmurings of the insane, yes? But I have every confidence and every dread that you will go through with it. However, about the Madame, how shall we proceed? I'm sure it has come to you that this will need more attention than the others who have gone under our care.
The chances of her remains being found is slim if we do things properly, as we have done in the past. But the chances of her disappearance going unnoticed? Not bloody likely. She was Hannah. Whether she was Hannah Evans or Hannah Wright, she's practically Luxborn royalty. Her disappearance will cause quite the stir. And who will be suspect number one? Me, of course, after that public blow-up she had at the party. This won't be as easy as, say, killing an ordinary accountant who looked into the numbers a bit too thoroughly, or an attorney who hopes to get in my way. But now I need time to plan to, at the very least, hide the body and cover her up her disappearance. That's why I had the rest of the staff sent away, except for Shrokin.
I suppose we can't just sweep this under the rug, can we? What about a magic trick, then? Can we pull off a sleight of hand? Now you see her, now you don't?
Misdirection. Clever. You could blame the butler. I would not mind retirement.
A nice try, but I'm not letting you go. I still own you until I see fit. There's no need for you to take the fall. Not when there are plenty of others I can pinpoint as the culprit. Why even make it murder?
I don't think turning it into a kidnapping story would work. But Hannah was sociable enough, and she had plenty of suitors. She could have been a bit too friendly with one of them. That would be the pot calling the kettle black. But she might have, if she was falling out of love with me. She might have wanted to leave me for another. Someone else who caught her eye, her interest. Just our very visitor this morning, in fact.
People don't like a film about colors. I suppose they would have liked Blue Bibby a lot more.
Very funny.
So, Grand Director, do you want to tell me what Blue Foncé is all about? I was talking with Zachary, the photographer for Luxury Living. He was a perfect gentleman, Luke. I can't say the same for you as of recent. Look, Luke, nothing will happen. You have to relax. It was just a friendly chat.
Is that why he's here? Unlikely. But her? Is that why she pulled that fucking stunt in public? Did she really not love me anymore? Is it because of the photographer? Or is it someone else? How many others could be at fault for her change of heart? You. You and only you.
This is all her fault. She already had you and she let herself stray.
What if we said that she eloped, ran away with another man?
I'd sooner believe she was killed by the Anselm butcher than think she fled with another man. But it could work. The masses will eat up such gossip. We can fake evidence, signs that will point to her traveling with a companion. Though, if I may be a bit honest, I loathe to speak ill of her or create rumor.
What if it isn't a rumor? What if there was someone? Why else would she act out like that? The falling out would be the best excuse to leave me. Or coming out as the victim. Whatever the case, it'll put me under less scrutiny. The police will investigate if it's a murder or a kidnapping or a sudden disappearance. But they won't really bother with marital and relationship issues, will they?
They are not minors, and I suppose the police will not bother unless you file a case. They have more problems than a love affair. It would be best to consult someone who knows the law a bit more intimately. Your lawyer, yes?
Yes, but he's away on a holiday, enjoying the beaches on some back-end country or some such. Somewhat called Philippians or something?
The Philippines. He's in the Philippines.
He told me he'll be back on the 2nd of November.
Wouldn't that be a bit too late? If we have to wait that long, we can consult someone else. The Chef Inspector might be willing.
Yes, I suppose I can ask Lee. He's an idiot, but he's an idiot who studied the law. But if I ask questions, he'll pry, and I'd like to not give too much away. The trick to keeping a secret is to have as few people as possible know about it. Take a few people down and put them in their graves if I have to. At least the lawyer is paid to believe I'm innocent and won't be nosy about the whole thing. And really, it's just because...
I don't trust him with this. He's probably busy with that wife of his, if she's still even in the city.
Who can I even trust that, really?
You can trust your most faithful servant, for I am the only one who truly loves you, my prince.
A person's loyalty stops where greed starts. They all bow down to curry favor, faking smiles and attending to my every whim, expecting approval and gifts in exchange. That is all well and good for me. Let it not be said that I am not a generous prince. But it is those who I reign over through fear that I must watch out for. People like Harvey Lee fall under both of those. He catered to me shamelessly so that I would aid him with his wishes in turn, and when he found out that he was in too deep, I had to leash him lest he get in my way. Sure, I say jump and he'll say how high, but he's a spineless little shit. The moment he thinks he sees the opportunity to turn the tables on me, he'll take it. Bribery and blackmail can only go so far. One needs to make the other person bend, but take care not to have them broken. If they believe they have nothing to lose, that's when they retaliate. At the very least, he'll try to use the knowledge to try and gain leverage to be on equal grounds with me. And if he does that, I'll be forced to kill him. I don't like letting go of my toys because they decide to be stupid. Handling idiots can be so tiring. No matter how many of them die off, another 3 can be found within a stone's toss. It's best to make use of them, one way or another, until it's decided that they need to be deleted from the gene pool.
It won't do to use a story until we're certain it's believable. After all, it's the first time I've become a widower. Until then, keep the others away from her body.
Standing up to leave, I grow still at the sound of shattered glass. A dampness leaks into my shoes as red stains the hem of my pants and socks. I forgot I was having wine.
Go clean that up and leave me be. I've already had the other staff take the day off. I don't want to see hide or hair of you unless I call.
There's no peace to be had. Just yet, apparently. The other man is quick to follow and quick to speak up, as if there aren't any to witness such disrespect or to hear what had to be said.
You do realize it has been 12 hours. Rigor mortis has already set in. Any longer, and then it will start smelling like a sewer. I will not be able to do anything about that without removing the corpse itself. In 3 days' time, the smell will have seeped into the walls, and you will have to replace those to even get rid of it. If you're not keen about disposing the body just yet, at the very least we can put it in a freezer.
I suppose a chest freezer for the wine cellar wouldn't raise too many questions. And, look, I don't want to think about this right now. I don't care if you have to fill the room with potpourri or douse all the walls with perfume. Go order a freezer and have it delivered today even. Just make sure it doesn't stink up the place until we get rid of the body. Make it happen. This is your problem now.
If you are not to attend to it, will you be reporting to work then? You've already cancelled your appointments for the day, but some are still insistent that you keep to your original meetings. The board of directors are especially adamant about talking about the hotel and...
I put up a hand to stop the man from talking before he goes any further. Why, I can already feel the migraine building up from all his worrying. It's a part of his job, I understand, but I said I was going to have the day off. So, be assured, I am going to have the bloody day off.
Goodness, no. I think I deserve a break. A day or 2, or 3 without being surrounded by complete dunderheads. Director Hahn can handle those busybodies for a while, can't he?
For fuck's sakes, I can have the week off if I want, and my finances will not be the worst to wear. My company and the businesses aren't going to keel over and die just because I decided to take leave for a bit, right? It's not like I'm the only competent businessman here. I mean, at least, I hope not. Before there are any protests, I put my mobile out of my pocket and toss it his way. By the time he catches it, I'm already halfway out the door.
I'm going out for some fresh air. If anybody calls, tell them they can sod off and bother me another day.
Gray skies loom over the horizon, though the sun fights for every precious minute it gets to stay. It'll rain again soon, with the wind bringing along the gloomy clouds normal to Luxbourne. Until then, doesn't hurt to be out here for fresh air and sunshine. I walk to the gardens, what little of it there is at the moment anyway, and kneel by the daffodils. These were the first to be brought here and planted on my request, and if nothing else, they bring in a sense of peace. They were mother's favorites. Closing my eyes, I lift my chin up to welcome the light that shines upon me. And for a minute, I can imagine myself as one of the flowers, peaceful, blooming, and all too happy to stand in its warmth. Life would be much easier if we were all like flowers, wouldn't it? But I didn't step out here to get all philosophical. I have problems much more practical than figuring out the meaning of life, after all. Too many things have gone on these past few days. And I want to forget about them, even for just a moment.
It's almost All Saints, isn't it? To think I've almost forgotten.
I speak the words absent-mindedly. The date means nothing to me, as I neither worship the religion nor have any graves to visit, after all. Mother was never given a proper burial. But it's a date as good as any for me to grieve. Otherwise, I would have done so every single day, crippling myself and shutting everyone else out. I can remember how the flames licked at her flesh, and how it had consumed her body until there was nothing left but ash. I stood there, watching with the operator and a social service worker. Though I could have been alone for all I care. I felt alone. It was the most that could be done. No one would attend the funeral of a dead prostitute, let alone pay for it. All that is left of her, proof that she had lived, is her name written in the ledger of Luxbourne Cemetery, a lighter, and me. Pulling out the lighter from my jacket, I can't stop myself from flicking it open to stare at the flame and to run my thumb over her name. All in all, it isn't much, but it's something. And it'd be wrong of me not to make something of myself when she would have given everything to make sure I had become anything I wanted to be.
Feels like I'm stuck in a nightmare right now. What I would give to have you here by my side, Mother dear. To see you smiling at me. Alive and as beautiful as ever. I'm afraid I'm starting to forget what your face looks like. I've already forgotten the shade of your hair.
Eleanor Chandler was a wonderful woman, though not everyone would have agreed. Not everyone had seen past her occupation, past her vices and her illnesses. All they saw was a poor woman who sold her body to make ends meet, and had a bastard son because of it. They didn't see the mother who worked hard to put food on the table for me. The woman who gave and gave and gave to me while expecting nothing in return. She taught me the merits of hard work, but though I loved her so, I worked hard for myself. I would not be so foolish, so selfless towards people who would never give back. I learned that from the father who plucked me out of an orphanage for his own selfish gain. I pocket the lighter before I can feel the urge to actually set anything ablaze. Considering my close proximity to the flowers, they would be the most likely victim of arson. Just the thought itself is blasphemous. Nevertheless, that doesn't save them from being picked. Just enough to make a bouquet of the things in honor of Eleanor.
Would you be proud of me if you saw me now, Mother?
Nope.
Maybe.
Nope.
You're always so forgiving. No matter what trouble I got into, more than I deserved. Especially now.
It's been a while since I've talked to my mother like this. Do I even deserve to talk to her now? It feels wrong to do so after what I've done. Not because I have blood on my hands, no, that's nothing new. But when it's her, when I've killed my lovely Hana, I don't even need to worry about becoming my father anymore because I am certainly much, much worse. Damien never killed Eleanor. He never had her blood on his hands. Staring at the flowers offers me no safety from that reality. The peace I came out here for is short-lived when my own mind betrays my guilt. But I am a stubborn fool who's set in his ways, and I refuse to get up and go back into the house just yet, even if there's no real point in staying in the dirt. And I'm made even more determined to stay when I sense a presence standing behind me. When I told Shrokin that I would tell anyone and everyone to sod off and bother me another day, I do mean that.
Leave me alone, Shrokin. Go make dinner if you want to be useful.
I think those flowers look beautiful, my lord. The parlor, the room where the lady stays for her tea, it could certainly use some.
The voice is not familiar, though I am not really one to remember such things. A beautiful woman stands behind me. A servant, if one were to assume that from what she was wearing. And that should certainly concern me when the other household staff members had been sent away for the day. Not to mention, I'd like to think I'd remember a pretty face like hers if she was under my employ. If she's pretending to be one of the staff, she's out of luck. And if that is the case, she shouldn't push her to luck, lest I decide another murder will not ruin my day any further. But I can only feel, at the very least, indifferent at her presence and annoyed at most. Beautiful as she may be, that did not exempt her from my wish to be on my own. There's a part of me that feels like I'll snap at any moment from the smallest of reasons, and I'm just waiting for an excuse to let go again.
Didn't you get the memo? Are you new? Today is a day off. You aren't supposed to be here.
Am I not? I apologize, my lord. I wasn't aware that we are not expected at our stations this day. It's just that today is such a beautiful day. I saw you alone and simply thought you could use some company.
Point. The birds are singing and the flowers are blooming. It would be a shame to spend days like these on my own. But with these rare sunny days, I wish I could spend it with my sunshine. My Hana. Something claws and lashes out inside of me at the reminder of what happened, of what I did to her. To know that she is not here with me, to enjoy these scarce times when dark clouds do not plague our skies. An ill feeling takes over me at the mere thought. I have to swallow down the bile that rises in my throat, force my expression not to betray anything. Any sign of weakness is not allowed. The slightest of slip-ups and I'll be swarmed by sharks hungry for blood. Perhaps talking with another person, a human being that doesn't know of my sins, will do me some good. That, or there'll be another pretty corpse by the end of the day.
All is forgiven. You must be really enthusiastic about your job if you didn't realize it's a day off.
I simply owe everything to the lady. Work is all I know. It's the only way I can repay her. But if my lord wishes to take it as enthusiasm, I won't hold it against you.
She smiles. It has that sort of smile that makes one's kindness shine through without words of action. It reaches your eyes, filling them with a strange sort of mirth, as if she's just thought of something very funny. And I'm hard-pressed to return the friendly gesture. I'll be civil. That doesn't mean I have to pretend that I enjoy it. Though I'm debating just dismissing her all the same.
The flowers in the countryside are rather beautiful, aren't they? Though I must admit, they do not appeal to me as much as the ones in my homeland do.
Not a native-born, then. Probably a foreigner who thought looking for work overseas would let her live the high life, only for stark reality to slap her right in the face. People like her are a dime a dozen, and she's probably one of those undocumented foreign workers, too. There's just a whole doozy of a debate about them these days. Though it's probably best not to bring the topic up, if only for the sake of my temper. Still, I have to rise to her bait. Flowers sound like a safe topic to broach, and one I rather enjoy.
Oh, is that a challenge, I hear? You must not have seen a full British garden in bloom, then. The roses, daffodils, thistles, and bluebells make for a grand display under the right care.
I think they are much too bright.
Oh, do elaborate. I've never heard anyone call it that way.
Just the way you present your flowers, that is. They are beautiful still. But I think they lack the softness and elegance of the chrysanthemums and cherry blossoms that I have grown up seeing.
Do you work in the gardens, then?
Because that would explain why she's so unfamiliar to me. I don't meet much of the staff, if at all, preferring that they remain invisible until they are necessary. The gardeners especially, as I only really go out to take care of Mother's daffodils and ask that I be left alone under those conditions.
Oh, not at all. Although I do wish I were. I do enjoy working with plants quite a lot. Not that I am unhappy to be at your service, my lord, but no. I work for the lady of the house and carry out what she requests of me.
Lady of the house? Is that what that old hag of the head housemaid? Is that what that old hag of a head housemaid's telling the other staff to call her now? Not surprising, really. That woman has always been an upstart, self-important biddy who doesn't know her place. She should really just give up, retire, and enjoy whatever remains of her years. At her age, she wouldn't manage even a position in the Queen's staff. Not that I don't respect that woman, of course. She and I are much alike, except I succeeded in rising up the ranks of society, whereas she failed. And how she despises me for that. Her pride probably refuses her a graceful exit, and I don't really care all too much about her employment until such time the government forces me to retire her. With how old she is, she's always complaining about backs and aches, pains and aches, and about young people. She's a difficult character, and she only acts really tolerable around Hannah. Not that that'd be a thing anymore since, well, now I'm just in a terrible mood.
Ermengarde for Her Majesty, then? That job must be a right pain in the arse. I heard she runs her assistants ragged, probably killing you real so she can absorb your life essence in the hopes that it'll make her youthful.
She has her undesirable moments, but I am grateful enough. I have a roof over my head and bread to eat, though certainly the compensation the household provides for us is not lacking. It is generous for me. Too much. Too much for someone as lowly as I. I did not mean to imply insult, my lord. I'm simply...
I wave it off. Accusations that I'm paying my employees less than proper are often unfounded. I'd like to think I'm fair with my wages. And it doesn't seem she meant any harm by it, but...
You do not look too happy. I really did not mean to upset you. The lady of the house will surely be furious if she hears of this.
Oh, relax, that old hag isn't going to know because I'm not a snitch. But to be frank, I'm just wondering what you're here for. It's a nice day. A lovely lady like you should be out on the city with some lucky bloke.
Apologies. I did not mean to bother you. I thought you would appreciate the company, what with the rains about to return.
And if I do not appreciate the company, if I wish to be alone, don't you think I came out here for a purpose?
I did nothing to mask my indignance now. If this were any other time, maybe if she were someone else, I would try to be a tad bit civil for a while longer. But if my foul temper will make her run off, all the better. I don't need servants or their imposters nosing about my business. But she stays unperturbed. If anything, she's rooted herself to the spot, still and silent. She looks at me in quiet appraisal while I try my best to see if I can just ignore her. A difficult feat, as her stare makes my skin crawl. And what she says next sends a chill up my spine.
But, my lord, that is not what I see. Loneliness casts shadows in your eyes and sharp lines on your face. I see a man who is thinking of the woman he loves. You miss her. You regret. though I cannot fathom why. She did not deserve you.
With the money and power I have, it's no big surprise that there's a target painted on my back. There have been a few times that someone has tried to take care of me. I've been personally insulted before, called a bastard and a demon. They think angering me will make me slip. The very fact that they do try to get rid of me is insulting enough as it is. But this is different. Nobody has spoken of my mother before to get to me, because nobody knew of her. As far as the greater public is concerned, I am the son of Damien Wright, and whoever was unlucky enough to bear me is nothing but an unfortunate footnote in the history of our family.
Who are you? Who sent you? What do you want? How do you know about my mother?
The venom in my voice is apparent, as is the confusion in hers.
Your mother? No, I speak of the woman you wed. Her death was a blessing.
But I don't know if this is any better. I can feel the blood leaving my face. We had sent the others away for this exact reason. To give us time to cover up her disappearance, her corpse even. But if she knew about it, well, she has to be taken care of.
What? How did you?
Without drawing too much attention to it, I reach for the mobile in my pocket. One press would be all it takes to call the other man here so that we can get rid of the pest. I'd do it myself, but I'm unarmed, near defenseless. But my phone isn't here.
I'm going out for some fresh air. If anybody calls, tell them they can sod off and bother me another day.
Of course, of all the times for me to ditch the bloody thing. But I should be able to take care of one woman, right? There's nobody but Johannes and I on the property, far removed from the village and the rest of society. A fist to the throat, a quick twist of the neck, a blade to the jugular. Though, forget that last one. Unfortunate for me, I don't have my knife either. But, looking back at her, I freeze in place.
Is something the matter? You look affright.
Holy fucking shit, that never fails to make me jump. What? Fuck! I tried to scream, but it stuck in my throat.
Please do not torment yourself. You have nothing to worry about. I would never harm you. This home still needs its lord, our prince. Come, my lord, the house beckons.
Gone was the beautiful woman, and in her place is this grotesque witch, this monster, surreal and horrifying. That's it. I've gone mad. Driven crazy by guilt for the sins I've committed. And this is the devil that would torture me for all eternity. But even the idea that this is all a dream, a nightmare, doesn't stop me from flinching away from her touch. It definitely does not stop me from breaking off into a run. I can still feel her eyes on me as I run back to the house. But I refuse to acknowledge it, let alone look back. All I need is to get away from her, and to make sure she stays away. And if that means acting like a coward and seeking out company to keep me safe, nobody can tell me to do otherwise. Bravery isn't something to be lauded if it comes along with stupidity. It must have been a sight to see the usually composed and reserved Luke Wright bursting through the doors. But there is a time and a place for keeping appearances. A time when one's life is on the line is not one of them. Mustering up the courage, I look back through the windows to see if she followed me. She's gone. I feel relieved, though I really shouldn't be. Stopping to catch my breath, Johan's sudden appearance nearly makes me jump out of my skin.
Don't fucking do that, you son of a bitch! If I had a gun, I would have shot you!
If I had any love left for my mutter, I'd take offense. But what happened to you? You look like you've seen a ghost.
Oh, if only it were such a delusion. But I can still feel the faintest touch of her fingers. The feeling was too real for it to have been a ghost.
In the garden, there was a woman.
And there's always a woman with you, isn't there?
That's not what I mean. Listen, she knows that Hannah is dead.
Strange. The house was empty. Is empty. I made sure of that. Can you describe this woman?
Are you deaf? I told you she knows that Hannah is dead. What does it matter what she looks like? What is this with this interrogation anyway? Do you not believe me?
Frustration bleeds into my very being when he just raises his brow at me. What does it matter what she looks like unless you are going to go look for her? Oh, of course. But I have to fight off the panic as I try to recall her features. I hurry up the stairs and into the east hallway with the butler at my heels. All this just to get as far away as I physically can from the gardens before I dare speak of her again.
She had pale skin, dark eyes, and long dark hair. She wouldn't give me her name.
And did she know who killed the madam?
It didn't seem like she knew who it was. But she still knows that Hana is dead. You know I'm not gonna do well if I go under investigation right now.
Rua, bitte, calm down and think, right? The body hasn't been moved. She must have been near it to know of it. If she knows there's a corpse, we can go about this two ways. Either we find her and take care of her, or we...
Make her take the fall. That's all well and good. Brilliant. But there's just one thing.
The hairs on the back of my neck stand at the end at the mere thought of that woman. I don't know if it was a trick of the light, but I don't think it was. I was imagining things. And though he might think me a lunatic, I can only go on.
Well, she was this thing. A monster. A witch. I know how it sounds. I sound like... okay, fuck. It sounds like I've gone off my rocker with all that's happened.
I expect to hear disregard, concern for my mental state, and maybe even empty platitudes relating to my guilt. But instead the other man grows deathly silent, a thoughtful look on his face.
I would normally say that seeing hallucinations is a normal human experience, even if this does not sound like a bereavement hallucination. But the woman you described is familiar. I've seen her before in the mansion. Glimpses.
Is she one of ours, then? You must know her name now that you know what she looks like.
I thought at first that her name may have merely slipped my mind. I've asked the head housemaid to reprimand her, for she was always loitering about when I saw her. But the old woman confirms. We do not have anyone fitting the description under our employ.
So what I saw, what you saw, what was that? I don't understand. Explain, Shurkin. Please tell me I'm not going mad.
We will have a head count of the female staff in the morning, and I'll assign stricter security protocols when the staff returns. It's better we rule things out before jumping to conclusions. I will have to check for tampering as well.
Tampering?
Psychotropic drugs to start off with, perhaps in the water supply. I suggest you not worry yourself about it. You are unharmed. That is what matters right now. If it makes you feel any better, I'll stand guard outside for the night.
No, that does not make me feel any better. If that woman was a hallucination, a waking nightmare, what could a god do to stop her from appearing before me once more? And if she comes into my dreams, I loathe to think I would need to cry for help like an infant in need of his mother. A tense silence befalls us, and though I don't dare speak it out loud, I would say that we both seem scared. Often, I'm the first to break anything of the sort, but...
Shall I put them in a vase?
I'm confused before I realize what I have in my grip.
What? Oh, these? I didn't realize I still had them.
I really did not. But there they are. There they were, still in my grip, are the daffodils. The ones I had taken from the garden. Even in the wake of my flight, I had refused to let go of them, whether I was conscious of it or not. They should be for Mother. They could be for Hana too, but doesn't even matter. What do dead women care for flowers? Well, I suppose Hana would have loved them.
No, I think I'll take them with me. And if you don't mind, I'm going to turn in for the night.
Of course. I shan't keep you any longer.
I don't care enough to show any sign that I've heard him, retreating into the master bedroom without another word. The bouquet of daffodils is quickly placed before the nursery door. It's almost hilarious how I'm now worried about a woman more than I am the fact that there's a corpse in the next room. But even as worry for her still keeps me on edge, I feel exhaustion come over me. Not bothering to strip off my clothes, I fall onto the bed, tired and alone. The sickly sweet scent wafting in from the nursery has kept me awake through most of the night. It's intoxicating and nauseating in equal parts. The body has yet to be disposed of. Mostly my fault. I have too much to take into account before I rush to a decision. Though perhaps this whole ordeal is being made complex by my sleep-addled brain. I can't be bothered to rise from the bed even when the sun, what little there seems to be today, peeks through the curtains. I don't want to handle any of it. Not Hannah's body, not the security, not Kylie visiting. Right now, all I want to do is actually get some sleep. Still, the thought of that woman from yesterday, and the danger that she presented, was enough to keep me from even trying. So suffice to say, I am not very happy that anyone would dare to separate me from my true love. The bed. The rain that has started sometime during the night didn't help my mood. Okay, maybe it helps just a little. Strange sunny weather has been nice and all, but for it to return as it should feels like a good sign of things to come. Perhaps things will settle back to normal and the crazy drama that has gone on lately will die down. The rhythmic pitter-patter of the rain fills the early morning silence with a steady beat. Thank goodness I don't have to be anywhere in a hurry today. I would hate to be caught unawares in this rain. With how it looks outside, it seems that the weather is making up for all the sunny days it has given us with a good old-fashioned downpour. It does let up within the quarter of an hour. However, a day beginning with a cloudburst like this, locals usually take it as an immediate sign. Luxborn's abysmal weather is back, likely for good. There's this rubbish about how the heavens cry when with you through the rain. If anyone sentimental enough knows what I've done, they'd probably spout this stupid thought my way. Well, I think it's a load of bull. Hannah would roll in her grave at the thought that the heavens made it rain for her. She was never one for the dreary weather, always enjoying the scarce sunshine on rare sunny days. She had been loving the abnormally sunny week thus far. If only things had not come to this. But it is already far too late to regret everything, and, thankfully, somebody interrupts before I can start brooding on the what-ifs. Perhaps the only time I can appreciate the man's insufferable prying.
Are you really going to stay in bed all day?
What do you want?
You must have been really rattled by what happened yesterday. If you need to talk about it, I am quite qualified in that regard.
And you aren't even the slightest bit bothered? Truly? Not even the slightest bit worried?
I was worried. But I realized that it's not my life in danger, is it? My worrying will not help matters. Neither will yours.
The detached manner in which he admits this annoys me to no end.
Oh, as a matter of fact, it is your life in danger. Because if I find you lacking, if that woman finds their way anywhere near me again, you'll be following in the footsteps of your predecessor. Are we clear? Do what you have to. In fact, it'd be best if you keep busy. Do what needs to be done, and if I see you even idling for 1 second, I won't be happy.
He doesn't say anything. There's no witty retort. It isn't a threat, but a promise after all. I don't take kindly to incompetence, especially when it comes to affairs that affect my very safety. I will kill if it ensures that I live.
Are there any updates about the woman?
Being in the dark has me on edge. Information, any at all, may very well help me in calming down.
I've already briefed security about her, and more from the agency will be arriving tonight. But they haven't seen anyone fitting the description.
So you have nothing then? Fat lot of use you guys are. What do I even pay you for? Do me a favor. There's the door. Don't let it hit you on your way out.
Well, there is something. It's about McCulloch.
Can anyone blame me if I showed the tiniest bit of interest? She's still not done with the house, and she's a nice enough woman. Plans to go back to sleep are gone.
I called her secretary about taking the day off. He hasn't heard from her over the weekend.
She's probably passed out after enjoying a pint or 2 or 10 in a bar somewhere. She's an adult. It was the weekend. She's allowed to disappear and not think about work. Fuck. I wish I was passed out after a night of drinking. He does know that mobiles are a thing.
That's all well and good, but she's not answering her mobile either. Mr. Parker will be filling a missing persons case with the police if she doesn't turn up today.
Certainly someone must know where she is. Tabs are kept without fail on people who come to work with me. Background checks and constant surveillance until they've finished their contracts with the rights. Some would say that it's all a bit over the top. But I can't be too safe. Too many want me dead.
What about one of ours? Has anyone seen her? She's pretty hard to miss with how tall the woman is.
The last anyone has seen of her was here, the morning of the party. Your housewarming party.
That isn't good news.
It wouldn't do for the police to hear of this, and to suspect.
They are not welcome in this home. The niggling voice in the back of my head starts loudly, though its presence is both unwanted and unnecessary.
If they come to investigate her disappearance, you need to make a decision. What will we be doing with the madam?
Because if they come to investigate her disappearance, well, we don't want them snooping about the house. Not until dearest Hannah is taken care of. Because I'm the fool who can't let her go. It's ridiculous that I'm so sentimental about something that amounts to nothing more than rotting meat. As it is, the body is still decomposing on the inside, internal organs being the first to go. If anybody found her, they might still think that she's only sleeping, first signs of flies and maggots aside anyway. It's been less than 48 hours. But give it a day or two and the thing will only get worse. My bedroom already smells like rotting fruit. The scent is faint and lingering. It's persistent, even with all that Johannes has done to decontaminate the place without touching the body itself.
Leave it for tonight. I'll think of something by then. Until then, I want you on top of everything. Now, if we're done here, I'd like to go back to sleep and...
Where are you?
Well, that plan's out the shitter. Well, there goes any plans of grabbing some shut-eye. Rolling over on my stomach, I can only scream into my pillow.
Of course, of course. Ugh.
Screw what Hannah said, she's dead now.
Johannes, distract her.
Oh, look, it's time for me to go. Have fun with your little play date. So long, farewell, and auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye.
No, Johannes, don't you turn away from me. Keep her busy for an hour. Come on!
I have to press my face against the pillow once more to suppress a groan. You just can't get loyal help anymore.
Hello there, little Fraulein. Your uncle is just upstairs and will be down in a moment. He is super excited to have you today. I hope you're well rested and ready to play a lot.
Bastard. I'll be down in a sec, Munchkin. Let me just...
Change into a fresh shirt, brush my teeth, fix my hair, bemoan my very existence, wish I was anywhere else in the world right now. Don't get me wrong. Kylie is a great kid. Wonderful. Better than most brats her age. But handling a tyke is the last thing I want on my agenda right now with this whole Hana business. Fortunately, I am well versed in how the world works. I've long learned that the show must go on no matter what hurdles come in my way. So I set to preparing for the day. Running a comb through my hair is just divine and simply makes me feel more human. Bed hair is disgusting, though it isn't as bad now as it was when I was a child. With how expensive a trip to the barber's was, I often had to grow it out until Mother had the time to cut it for me. The curls and tangles were simply horrid. Why, I was even mistaken as a little girl because of that. It certainly didn't help that I was named Lucille. A freshly pressed shirt is enough to chase away the last signs of sleepiness. The feel of crisp and clean cloth in my hand is a clear marker to the start of the day. Smoothing down my shirt and my suit and my hair with a sigh, I steel myself for the horrors. The horrors that come with taking care of a child.
Good morning to you, Luke.
Speak of the devil, and she shall appear. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, Kylie grins up at me as soon as I open the bedroom door. She swings the backpack she's clutching, hitting me in the leg in a show of impatience and looking entirely unapologetic for it.
Did you just wake up? Don't tell me you forgot. It's our playdate today.
I nearly did, really. It's hard to remember something so as trivial as an ordinary playdate when there's murder fresh on one's mind. But there's this instinct long ingrained to act as if everything is normal despite the blood on my hands. Else, I would have spiraled out of control a long time ago, and things wouldn't be as good as they are now. Besides, she's a bright child. Tolerable. Kid's got a good head on her shoulders and can get pretty mature for her age at times. Of course, they have to thank me for that. Her parents can take partial credit, but Hana and I have been there for this kid since she was just a small babe. Why, I can still remember the first time I saw her. It was at her baptism. The only reason I was there was to accompany Hana, who was to be named Godmother. She was such a tiny thing, not even a year old, and swaddled in her mother's arms in white cloth. It was the first time I really saw an infant up close. Close enough to hold one, at least. It had been terrifying to be given a little child to carry after the whole water ceremony. I've never done so before that, to hold a tiny life in my arms. I could have just dropped her on her head, and this little tyke before me would have stopped existing then and there. But the child just smiled at me, babbling nonsensical words as children do, and clinging to me even as I tried to hand her off to Hana. She had thought it hilarious and adorable. My suit had been a mess, and I was nearly an anxious wreck by the time I handed her back to her mother. Yet, it was pleasant, too.
Of course I didn't, you little rugrat. I just had to take care of something before you arrived.
Really? Well, I guess that's fine. As long as you told me for work like last time.
Really? Now why don't we go back down and have breakfast in the parlor?
I already ate at home. Papa made one of his tortilla de patatas. He wouldn't let me leave until I finished every bite.
The Suarez infamous tortilla de patatas. Those things are a hazard. You can probably use one to bludgeon someone into submission with how huge they are. It's a miracle Kylie can still be so energetic. I had trouble staying awake after the first time I had one. Speaking of staying awake.
Well, I need some coffee in me at the very least. But if you'd like, you can jump straight to dessert.
Yes! Dessert, please!
It's easy enough to manage Kylie with promises of sweets, thankfully. The hard part is managing her before she gets the sweets. Because I nearly have a heart attack when the kid races down the stairs. Just the thought of her slipping and breaking her neck is enough to make me rush down after her.
Slow down, the food isn't going anywhere.
The food is going somewhere. In my tummy.
Jesus fucking Christ. Children.
Right? With a shake of my head, I usher Kylie towards the parlor and order a maid to bring food to us. Whatever breakfast there is, along with a cup of coffee for me and an ice cream for Kylie. But I can't leave the kid alone for too long, unless I want her to turn the other room into a slaughter ground. True to my expectations, I've only left Kylie alone for a few minutes, but she's already made herself comfortable. Stuff from her backpack has been left scattered around the room, from the coloring books and crayons to toys. She's well equipped to amuse herself with no trouble, though I can certainly breathe a little easier if she wouldn't bring her toys along every time she visits. Narcissa, or Sissa, is a creepy little bugger. It doesn't help when Kylie left her during one playdate. Finding the thing at the bottom of the stairs staring up at me at 3 o'clock in the fucking morning is a memory that won't be leaving me anytime soon. Even now, it stares at me from where it's seated. I'm wholly tempted to just throw the thing into the fireplace and banish it from whence it came. I can buy her a prettier doll, a better toy. I will break it, find a way to get rid of it. If only it wasn't... I would break it, find a way to get rid of it, if it wasn't from Hana, and if only Kylie wasn't so attached to it. The thing is some antique doll she found for the rat's 6th birthday, one of a kind. My darling Hana loved her so. And Kylie does try to be a good goddaughter, but she just can't keep her interest long with the wife. It's not something that Hana does wrong on her part. She does try so very hard. It's just that she doesn't quite know how to really handle children. She's never been around other children when she was young, surrounded by protective adults who cater to her every whim and worry for her safety every minute. When she isn't able to keep up with Kylie, her first instinct is to be strict. Impose rules on the child, treat her as if she's made out of spun glass, like every movement might break her. I, at least, have some idea from being around street kids. I know the games they've played and how they think. I know that scrapes and skinned knees are all part of childhood. Even with how I grew up, I had time to be a child and not some sheltered heiress. With Kylie, as behaved as she can be, with her toys and her books and art, she has to use up all of her energy somehow. To run around the playground and make a mess in the mud, or to even just fake wrestle for a short while. Let her be a child when she wants, I'll say. If it becomes too much, just bribe her with sweets or ship her back to her papa. Problem solved. Unfortunately, Hana wasn't quite up for those sort of things most of the time, thinking it'd spoil the child. It turned a whole play date awkward every time. Taking the last seat left, I pluck one of her coloring books from the table to see it filled with dinosaurs. Not exactly what I was expecting for a little girl, but doesn't hurt anyone. If she wants to play with dolls and cars, or dolls with their cars, what do I care? She wants to put dolls' tutus on model cars even.
Oh, this is a new one. The last one you had was filled with horses, wasn't it?
Those were ponies, Tio. They're much cuter than horses. But we went to a dinosaur zoo, and it was awesome! Dinosaurs are my favorite.
I have no idea what that is, but it must be something. I'm only familiar with the T-Rex myself.
Yeah, they found, fossils of its claws. They're really long. They think the whole theory might be a bazillion meters tall, even bigger than a T-Rex. Cisa says it'll be big enough to eat all my classmates.
She only laughs as I scrunch up my nose and grimace. That is a creepy fucking face. I've only just realized this. Mostly because I'm usually just focused on the dialogue and trying to read it. But yeah, no, that is a creepy fucking face.
Takako says you're making a really funny face.
Taka who?
Takako, a friend I made.
I have to stop and look around, expecting one of the help to be there. The child does have a way of befriending just about anyone, as long as she puts her mind to it. Yet the two of us are completely alone. Thankfully, she only finds my disturbed look as another funny grown-up expression. That might be a lot more problematic than whether she plays with dolls or cars, though. Both the thoughts of Sissa giving Kylie ideas, and one of said ideas being massacred by dinosaur. Something I probably need to bring up with her father, aside from work. But beyond murderous dinosaurs, creepy dolls, and imaginary friends, I find no trouble with Kylie. She's as energetic and precocious as any tyke her age can be. She's an angel if she can get comfy and settled in after getting her sweets. We tuck into our waffles as soon as food is brought in. Our waffles, because she wanted her own plate to go with the ice cream as soon as she saw mine. A fresh plate of berries is brought in as well, which really goes great with the rest of the feast, as Kylie puts it. And if I indulge in the sweetness, I have a cup of black coffee to pair it off with. With our bellies full, Kylie grows content with just scribbling on a scrap of paper and calmly chatting about her week. She talks of her older brother Rowan and their parents, how they plan to go to the Block's land in Berkshire for the winter holidays. She mentions Miss Pink, Rebecca, which I listened to with half an ear. Our initial meeting had been a mess, but I can't quite find myself to listen to stories about her teacher wholeheartedly, the phantom sting in my hand still itching. She talks of the sad man in the park and of her new friend who likes to play hide and seek when she's not sniffling in the loo. Then, finally, she finds nothing new to talk about. She goes back to her drawings. That'll change as soon as her stomach settles, of course. Calm before the storm. Because, behaved as she is right now, I can feel the curiosity just radiating off of her. There's a restless buzzing under her skin and questions on the tip of her tongue, as they often are with children her age. But for now, I can take this piece with no complaint for however long it stays. I have fun with the crayons as well, at the child's insistence, even if I can't really draw. With Kylie using the black crayon, that leaves me with the yellow one. I absentmindedly start to doodle flowers, which are just about the only thing I can actually do decently. I've halfway filled the page with yellow when Kylie breaks her silence.
Tio, where is Tia? She's still sleeping in bed again? Is she gonna join us later?
I'd be lying if I say I'm not worried about going on with this line of questioning. I honestly am not expecting her to ask about her godmother. For all that Hana was her actual godparent, she isn't as fond of her as she is of me. For a moment, paranoia fills my mind. It's suspicious of her to ask about a dead woman for no reason. I do recall this is ridiculous. To think a child is a threat to me. Her father might be putting her up to it, to find dirt on me, mind my supplies. I'm not too disillusioned to think that the people working under me are actually loyal to any extent. I can't stop myself from being defensive.
What do you care? You've never asked for her before.
Mama's been asking about her. She hasn't visited for a while.
There's a shrug, and some sense to her words. If that doesn't relieve some of the tension for me, nothing else will.
I don't know where she is, Munchkin. She's probably off somewhere doing grown-up things.
That makes sense. Tia does a lot of boring grown-up stuff. There's always a boring grown-up parties. You must be happy you're not doing a boring grown-up thing right now thanks to me.
Hey, I'm doing a grown-up thing. I'm taking care of you, aren't I, you little rugrat?
Aww. I'm still on edge, but it's easy enough to put on a carefree mask once I get a grip of myself. The roll of her eyes and the way she looks at my doodles in a false serious manner helps too.
Oh, your drawing doesn't look grown-up to me.
Nevertheless, like any child her age, the line of questioning doesn't exactly stop.
Is Tia still asleep? I want to give her this pretty drawing I made for her.
And I know that they can't help it. That they don't know where to cross the line out of genuine and innocent curiosity. Yet that doesn't stop me from snapping.
Tia isn't here, all right?
So where is Tia?
She's not anywhere that I know of. Probably at another party, shaking hands and all that.
But she's coming home soon at least, right, Tio?
Enough, you little brat! Can we just...
I don't know where Hana is. That's the official excuse for when her disappearance is looked into. It's easier to claim ignorance to have a lack of liability if foul play is ever suspected. There would be no mens rea or actuus reus if I spin the whole affair and make myself the clueless bystander. It'd be easier to manipulate the story if I remove myself from it. Whichever way we choose to deal with this mess. But I've been blindsided by the interrogation of a child. Whispers in my ear conspire.
Silence her.
Ho! What? I have to shake my head to clear away the thoughts. She didn't deserve my anger for such innocent questions. Because this is just a kid. This is Kylie, for fuck's sakes. I don't need to silence her. I had to...
Let's just have fun, all right? I'm so sorry, Kylie. Please don't cry. I didn't mean to.
I raised both my hands in a non-threatening manner, trying to placate her, only for her to take a step away, wide-eyed and terrified. The look on her face just crushes something in me. She doesn't let me say anything more than that before she runs away crying about wanting to call her father, about wanting to go home. Her crayons and toys lay strewn about, forgotten. Even Narcissa is left behind. She never leaves her doll behind if she can help it. And now it's looking at me, accusing. I've never shouted at her before. I had no right to. And even if I want to deny it, some part of me was about to raise my hand to her, when I promised a very long time ago that I would never harm a child. Miss Pink was wrong about me, it looks like. I'm a horrible guardian. I'm not good with kids at all. Or good, period. I just can't help this awful energy that's taken over me. I feel so angry and tense and...
Sisa, what is wrong with me? Am I going mad?
I don't think I can spend any more time with Kylie considering how high-strung I feel. So it's a good thing that Suarez came for her as soon as I've called. Though it is earlier than the agreed-upon time, he voices no complaint. The bastard even has a look of relief as soon as they leave. Or at least I interpret it as such from where I've stood by one of the windows, not bothering to step out and greet the man. No doubt he still doesn't trust me around his spawn. Well, he has every right to be suspicious of me. I am a dangerous man, after all. But to my chagrin, that leaves me with the rest of the day with nothing to do. Well, aside from picking up the mess Kylie left scattered about in the parlor, to my immense relief, she remembered to take her doll home with her this time. But the same cannot be said of the crayons and paper littered here and there. First things first, I snatch my own doodle off the table and rip it to shreds, leaving no hope that it will ever see the light of day. The rest of the drawings, all Kylie's, remain unharmed as I collect the lot. Though they have been stacked neatly on the table before, they must have been blown about when I saw Kylie off. And there are plenty of them. From cats and cakes to colorful rainbows and gardens, the child managed to make a lot during her morning here. There's one more that I have to fish out of the fireplace where it landed. Expecting to see another one of Kylie's masterpiece, I am instead greeted with something a bit more concerning. There is me, and there is Kylie, the two of us side by side and smiling as our stick figure selves stand in a nondescript field. That much I can ascertain without looking at the labels below the doodle's feet. But a third figure stands next to me in the drawings. A woman, with her face hidden behind a curtain of black. Takako, the writing under her supplies.
Takako says you're making a really funny face.
Taka who?
Takako, a friend I made.
The hairs on the back of my neck stand on end, and I feel a chill go down my spine. A breath. That isn't mine. That has me turning around, expecting, hoping to see someone, anyone. But nothing. And that's when I hear it. Laughter, sweet and merry laughter, sweet and merry laughter ringing from the ballroom. Thinking about it has my cheeks burning and my blood running hot. It's as if I'm being mocked. As I stomp towards the door, I have to stop myself from shouting up a storm. I expect to see some of the help dallying about idle from their duties. Perhaps they thought they can slack off in their duties without the head butler around it with my preoccupation with Kylie. Well, they had another thing coming. But again, nothing. Nothing from what I can see with a cursory glance, and at the very least. I roam around looking for near impossible hiding spots. And still I am all alone. Yet I can still hear the laughter, that accursed laughter echoing about the room in my head.
Who's there? Show yourselves and show some respect to the master of the house!
Cold uneasiness settles into my stomach when no one answers. I stumble on my own 2 feet, feeling a wave of nausea come from nowhere. I have to put a hand against the wall to stay upright when the world shifts and pain explodes from behind my eyes. It takes every ounce of my self-control not to heave then and there. The only thing my pride allowed me to do then is to close my eyes and attempt to alleviate some of the pain. Vague, unfamiliar images, dare I say memories not mine, flash in my head, unbidden and unwelcome. Like a strong hammer strike to the head, threatening to crack my skull and split it in two. Whatever emotions they hold are muted. I am nothing but a spectator. Still, its weight feels palpable. Though it doesn't take long for these sensations to get into my head, through my eyes and my ears it creeps and buzzes in places between. She nearly drops her tray as she enters her lady's bedchamber. The lady is being taken against the wall like a common street whore. The man is not her lord, her prince. But she is not of a station that will allow her to judge. That doesn't keep the shock from her features or from her voice.
Milady, I brought the My apologies!
Her voice is small, subdued, and shy, though the lady needs no words to express her displeasure as her face turns from one of pleasure into that of anger and accusation. Her glare burns, focused and scalding. If looks could murder, the servant girl would be dead where she stands. All the while her lover still moves in and out of her, either unaware of their audience or enjoying the act even more because of it. My heart feels like it's seizing in my chest, like it's being squeezed and the pressure won't stop until it bursts.
Are you truly storming off over some hearsay? Be sensible!
What you did, it is... There are no words. You bring disgrace to this family. This rotten noble standing in front of me is not the cousin I grew up with. This is not the lady I fell in love with. She would never do such unspeakable things, Charlotte!
I bring disgrace. I bring disgrace. I am not the idiot who's running off in the middle of the night. You promised, Edward. You gave me your word. Don't you dare turn your back on me. I swear to you, if you step 1 foot out of these lands, mark my words, Edward, I will.
What? What is it you swear? Will your men steal me away? Defile me too, like what you did to yourself?
There is an undercurrent of fear. I am in danger, my head screams at me. And there is hurt. A deep, burning shame I can feel on the woman's behalf. Looking at her, on its own, is a chore I cannot bear. Whispers and accusations fill every crevice of my head, ringing and echoing around like a terrible case of tinnitus. They stare, gazes filled with judgment and disgust. Even before their beloved lady has spoken, she's already condemned.
This horrid woman! I beg the court for justice! Who knows what this devil's bride is capable of? She has already bewitched my love, my betrothed. I just cannot bear to think of what she has done to him after. Or what else she may do to our people if we let her live. Blood taints this woman's hands, and I deserve to be repaid in kind for that which she has taken from me.
There is nothing for her but death, and she knows this. Her silence says as much. One after the other they come at me, an unending flood that threatens to sweep me away for what feels like an eternity. Each one a show of both joy and suffering for those who have called this mansion their home. Each new scene is like a hammer to the head, cracking the skull, threatening to crack my skull and split it in two. I can feel every little emotion in the blurry images that present itself in my head. I feel a part of these, like I've lived through them, though I know that is not possible. All of their anger burns through me, that much is evident, but the pain more so. And above all of it are the whispers, and the voices calling, luring, until one image emerges in vivid contrast with the other. When there's a shout of joy, my eyes snap open, looking for the culprit. That's when the whole room just changes. Everything is the same, yet everything isn't. There are people everywhere laughing and dancing. I should be concerned about them, but my mind finds it easy to dismiss them as they fade in and out from nothingness. Instead, I find my concentration drawn to a man and a woman, though only one can call them a lord and a lady going by their clothes. And oh, just see how happy the couple looks. Though the man's eyes are eerily blank, like he's not all there. His face is familiar, though. In fact, they both are. But I can't quite place why. The two make for a pretty picture as they dance in the center of the ballroom. Even the phantom crowd's attention stay on them. It reminds me so much of Hannah and I during the early days of our marriage. The honeymoon years, they called it. We were happy then, too. All smiles and her sunshine, even with the normal dreary weather. Younger, we had less to worry about. Or at least thought that way. I wished we could go on that way, even with all that I did and had to do. But life has a way of catching up. There was work to be done. Although we had to stay the loving, perfect couple in public, I could not afford to look so weak. To appear tied down to someone else, to those who knew who I really am. I had to harden my heart when I had business. But it hadn't always been so easy to just switch that part of me on and off. I should be concerned about their intrusion, too. Ask what in the bloody hell they're doing in my home, throwing a party as if they own the place. I asked myself how the fuck I didn't notice what was going on before when the parlor and the foyer were both only a few doors away. There's a horrid feeling of envy. And though I have long accepted that I am the jealous person by nature, I have never felt such a strong feeling of envy as I have now. They were happy with each other, these people, but Hana and I... Envy turns to anger. Anger for something I could not have. But I have the feeling that yelling and screaming at them won't do much of anything anyway. None of the others have given me notice. I realize that this might not even be real. It dawns on me that these two are the people from the painting, the ones all over the mansion. Which makes sense. I don't think I'm imaginative enough to make it all this up on my own. This must be a dream. Or a really horrible high. Just then, I can feel eyes on me as I contemplate the absurdity of the situation. Yet I find difficulty in trying to tear my eyes away from the two dancing. I manage, and I regret looking away. The woman from the garden stands beside me. I can hear her rattling breath, menacing and chilling. Everything in me screams to run. But something pins me to the spot as she just looks at me, watching and waiting. The clamor of their voices fills the ballroom. Although they say such welcoming words, I do not feel comforted by the madness I'm experiencing. Their joyous voices turn sinister and foreboding in my ears. The chorus of people that shouldn't exist, threaten to overwhelm me, drown me even as I stand on dry land. The music still plays as the Phantom Quartet continues, while I stand there vulnerable and afraid. But the dance has already ended. And I'm afraid that I might just be tonight's entertainment. Attention is all well and good until bollocks like this go down. These phantom people watch me, thousands of eyes scrutinizing, though they cheer for my return, cajole me to dance and join the merriment. There are eager hands all over, pulling me in every direction, but they do not move me enough to remove me from the woman's gaze.
Listen. Can you not hear them as they welcome you home? Your kind, our kind. You are one of us, my lord. We are bonded by the blood we've shed.
If I thought the words were overwhelming before, it is nothing compared to how they are now. Their voices are loud, speaking in unison and echoing ever on in the spaces of my head. They welcome me back, as if I've always belonged, as if I was meant to be here in the first place. They call me all these titles and names that do not belong to me, and that man's face, the one with the empty eyes, flashes again before me. Once, fleetingly, like a new memory having burned itself in my mind. I have to struggle for air when I come back to myself after.
I'm not. This isn't...
The welcome turns into screams at my protests, pain and desperate pleas for my help, telling me that it is my duty to return. Telling me that I belong among them, to them. Gentle touches turn near threatening, the warning scratches and the baring of teeth by predators before they truly maim someone. My mouth goes dry as I struggle to speak some senseless hallucinatory madness, but I don't get the chance as they drown out my voice.
Our lord, my prince.
At her words, there's a compulsion to stay. Though my heart races in my chest, the fear I should be experiencing refuses to register in my head. Mind and body war with each other, nearly tearing me in two.
Oh, you finally returned to us.
The compulsion to walk into her arms is strong. Whispers in my head tell me to go to her. They say that she is safety, that she is home and heart.
We have been waiting for so long.
But repulsed at these thoughts, I wrench away and turn away with a small gasp. Without hesitation, I start to make a run for it. I nearly falter when an angry shriek pierces the air, inhumane and monstrous. I don't dare look back. I just run. I didn't care if this is a drug-induced hallucination or not. Just run. Out of the ballroom. Out of the parlor. It's only then that I bother to look back, hoping and praying to the God I scorn that it did not pursue me. I would have run all the way out of the mansion, too, if only someone didn't get in my way. I collide with a body much larger than mine and fall back to the ground, head spinning as I look up at the stained glass. Turning my head to the side replaces the colorful sight with a pair of shiny black shoes. Fatigue fills every inch of my being then, making me refuse to get up. Meanwhile, a familiar head of ginger hair looks down at me in bemusement.
You really must look where you're going if you insist on running about. Do tell, where is the fire?
Oh, thank God you're here.
I do hope you don't have a concussion. Can you count backwards from 15 to 1 for me?
Oh, fuck off, you wanker. Just help me up.
I do not think insulting me if you do have a concussion is a smart decision. But no, really. 15 to 1.
That woman, she was here. I told you to keep an eye out for her.
The other man offers me an arm and pulls me up to my feet then. But before I can storm off and pull him to the ballroom, he anchors me down with one hand on my shoulder and the other touching the back of my head.
No bruising or bump. That still does not mean that you don't have a concussion. If you are too lazy to count backwards, can you tell me your full name? Where are you currently?
We don't have Lucille Mitchell Wright, and this is the Ermengarde bloody fucking foyer. But we don't have time for this.
You must make and have the time to make sure you are not broken in the head. I have already sent security to scour the whole house when I saw you running out of the parlor, Dummkopf. If the woman is here, they will have her. You will only be slowing them down if you plan to interfere.
When he points that out, I realize that there are guards starting to filter into the house as we speak, with some already searching the nearby rooms. Armed and uniformed men go about in pairs, making it so that the house is in a flurry of activity. He then lets go of me, with the knowledge that I'm not about to keel over anytime soon.
I was hoping that you would be tired from dealing with the young miss on my return. Instead, you come running and hit your head. Such a troublesome boy. Shall I be carrying you to bed, too?
I can manage just fine on my own. Though I don't see how I can sleep until that woman is caught.
It'll be easier to keep you safe in your quarters. This is twice we've known the woman to break in. I think we can safely presume that you hold her interest.
He says it as a matter of fact. He says it as a matter of fact in a tone that broke no argument. Not like I'll argue if it means I'm kept safe. The two of us hurry upstairs, though we remain watchful and wary of any potential threats to my person. We make it to the master bedroom without any trouble, though, and two of the security are left outside the door. No problems at all. Breathing a momentary sigh of relief, I sit down on the bed while the other man looks out on the balcony and closes the door behind him.
The balcony is clear.
And he's thorough, looking in closets and under the bed, even going so far as looking in the nursery, but it is with that he comes back silent. Johann's eyes scan the room warily, searching to see if he'd missed something.
What have you done with the madam?
What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
The body. It isn't there.
What? Last I checked, it's still there. It's not like anybody knows who the fucking body is. Did it just stand up and walk away? Got tired of being dead and decided to unkill itself?
I have to admit, that's kind of funny. It isn't there? That must mean it's somewhere else. And the house is crawling with guards, none of who knew that Hannah Wright is already dead. I feel the color draining from my face, but before I can take a step out, he raises a hand to stop me from charging out there.
Stay.
Stay? Do you see the problem we have here, Shrokin? Are your eyes open, Shrokin? Do you see the problem we're having here, Shrokin?
With my own eyes.
What the bloody fuck are you still doing there, then? Hannah's corpse. A corpse is missing. If anyone else finds that bloody body, we are going to have an even bigger problem than Suarez's company leak.
Which is why I'm asking you to calm down. This isn't...
You do not understand, do you? Okay, everything is at stake here.
Money, reputation, connections, the company I've built. Everything. There's no second thought as I reach under my side of the bed and pull out one of my knives. I have no doubt that the other man can take me on if we're both unarmed, but with this, I can even the field. Or at least deter him from escalating the situation and risking hurting either of us.
I'm going out there to look for that damn fucking body, and you're either with me or you're fucking fired! I am not risking anything. I am not losing everything.
Still, like a stubborn mule, he refuses to budge from the door. There's a withering look on him that I try to match. One that, somehow, I am losing fast to, even with him not saying a word. Yet.
Can you see yourself in the mirror right now? You're in no proper state to go looking for anyone, let alone your wife's dead body. If it'll make you happy, I will do the looking. But please, and don't make me repeat this, stay where it's safe, where security can find you. We already have one matter to be worried about. Please don't add another one to it.
Perhaps it is his tone. In spite of his general disdain for virtually everything that has to do with me, I'd like to think that over the years he's grown some sense of duty to his employer at the very least. Much as I loathe to admit this, I trust him over any of my other servants in this house. So, an acquiesce.
You have 2 hours, Shrokin. I don't think it'll take that long to find one lifeless fucking corpse in this godforsaken house. 2 hours. Any more than that, I'll do it my fucking self.
Of course.
Despite his words, he lingers. If I didn't know any better, I'd say he wants to make sure I get in that damn bed and sleep before he turns away from me. What am I, a child? Watching me and treating me like one. There's the reason why we will never get along.
Well, what are you waiting for?
Nothing. I just hope you're happy.
Verily, now mush!
As you wish.
Only then does he seem to get the hint. With a nod, he leaves, locks and closes the door behind him. For a moment, I still hear his voice while he gives the guards outside firm instructions. Then a hush as soon as he departs and his footsteps fade away. One that doesn't quite last. As quickly as the silence settles, lightning flashes across the sky, followed immediately by the loud boom of thunder. And that wanker strikes so dangerously close that I can feel the electricity in the air. The power goes out not a second later, and I feel as if I'm being mocked by whatever greater power there is. All is deathly still for a moment, but soon the rain starts once again. Far heavier than the light drizzle from this morning. Its pitter-patter hitting hard against this palace's roof. Despite the noise, I find myself drawn to my bed, exhausted, hoping for a little nap. I'm safe here. Shrokin will find her, and when I wake, I won't have anything to worry about. It does not take long. Once my head hits the pillow, in a matter of minutes, darkness claims me, bringing with it laughters and whispers of a twisted love from a long time gone.
Who are you? Stay away!
Sweet dreams, my love. It'll be over soon.
Yet, in spite of the unfamiliar voices and unwanted touchings from shadows lurking in the dark, rousing is a slow, arduous process. Difficult, every limb heavy with lead, no matter my aversion for the words they murmur in my ears or the sight of her horrid smile from afar, my body refuses to yield. I am at their mercy. Beyond fathomable reason, my consciousness refuses the pull of the waking world, choosing to linger in the depths of a dream, gradually drawing me deeper into unknown depths. Somehow, even if it might mean I may never open my eyes again. I love them.
You do not belong there, my love.
Not that I mind getting a few extra hours, of course. The bed's more than comfortable as it is. After an exhausting day yesterday, babysitting Kylie and the stress of finding an intruder in my own home, I think I deserve a little break every once in a while, especially after going through all that in a single day. I can only be on the receiving end of so many unacceptable things within the span of a few hours, you know? As gracious a host in person as I am, my patience has its limits too. Although there's still that problem with Hana. I haven't forgotten that, of course. But that's why I hired Shrokin. He's competent enough. He won't even last a day in my service if he's any lesser than those half-wits who think they can deceive me with sweet words. He's more than capable of working on his own without guidance. Let the butler take care of that little problem with Hana while I... Hana's body is still missing. Hana's still missing, and the trespass is still out there.
You do not need her. I am here. We are here. This is where your home is. Where you belong. For all that blood you shed. Come back to us.
How long has it been? Johannes has never taken this long before.
Surely there should have been an update by now. Alright?
So why isn't there?
Please don't go.
Bloody hell, the cretins I've surrounded myself with.
And isn't that enough reason to force myself out of bed? As it has always been the case. My eyes fly open, expecting the warm rays of sunshine flittering through the curtains. Only to be greeted by a blinding flash of light and a loud boom of thunder that sounded nearly too close to my ears. Strong gusts of wind will occasionally burst in from the open balcony door, bringing in drizzles of cold rain into the room. I must have left it open earlier before dozing. The carpet on the floor closest to it is already drenched. Hana would be cross if she was still here. Not that it's an immediate problem. If anything, it's this power outage we should be minding first. Not with the intruder. With the intruder still at large, stealing through this darkness might be more fatal than multiple stab wounds or a gunshot to the chest.
Oh, great. The power's still out. That is exactly what I need right now. Yes.
It's this storm, of course. I should have moved back to the penthouse to weather it in a much more comfortable setting. Already I can hear the creak and groans of this old place as rain beats against the windows.
Johannes! Has someone been sent to check the circuit breaker yet?
No answer.
Johannes!
Silence.
Shrokin! Someone! Anyone?
Still nothing, and my cordial mood is quickly dissipating.
Where are those idiots when you need them?
It's really a wonder why he hasn't fixed this yet. Was I really out that long? Can't be. It's only been a few hours after. It can only be a few hours after midnight if the time on my wristwatch is anything to go by. Unless I've forgotten to change it again after that last overseas trip a month ago. Though the delay is understandable, if he went looking for Hana as he promised. But bloody hell, my safety's also at stake here. Cursing, I stay still, letting my eyes try and adjust to the darkness while my hands fumble for my slippers. If that butler isn't going to fix this, I may as well order the security posted outside to do it. It's probably just a blown fuse. Anyone with a brain can repair one. Grabbing my jacket, and with footwear finally on, I make for the door. Although in haste, I pause briefly when a gleam catches my eye. On one of my drawers, underneath the clutter I've yet to organize, the muzzle of a gun peeks out. Hana has never openly commented on my possession of it, but I know she does not approve of it, knowing the bloody firearms policy in this nation. Of course, I've not found much use for it in the 7 years we've been together. Otherwise, she would have already had it thrown out years ago. Doesn't mean it won't be useful right now. Without second thought, I seize the stuff piled above it. I seize it, sending the stuff piled above it onto the floor. Whatever. I'll get to it later. This blackout problem should be resolved first. Right next to my missing security detail, as it turns out.
Where the fuck did everyone go?
There were two, weren't there? Shrokin had two blokes posted to stand guard for the night. I might have panicked for a bit earlier, but I'm quite sure I haven't gotten delusional yet. What? What? Did both of them decide to take a break? Because they think the master's already sound asleep and won't be looking for them.
Damn nitwits.
I know assassinations happen very rarely these days, and even less in a peaceful city like Luxborn, but bollocks! There's been a woman going in and out of this place uninvited who may or may not want to put a knife in my back. Isn't that enough reason to stay on alert? I'm fairly certain Shrokin won't just enlist their help just for this power outage, only to leave me unprotected. We have a difficult friendship, so to speak, but I doubt that the man's an opportunist. I'm holding the lives of his family in my hands after all. He knows what I'm capable of doing. He's not stupid enough to do anything that'll endanger them and save only himself. So, where then? Only my footsteps echo along the dark passage, and I am left gripping the handle of my pistol for some sort of comfort. Without proper lighting, and with the storm still raging outside, the stories I've heard about this place seem to have some truth in it. Some. If I'm reaching and wish to entertain myself for a bit, I'll say there might also be ghosts whispering in my ears, calling. Of course, it's just the wind and the trees rustling outside. Nothing good will come for allowing these thoughts to linger when problems are piling up in front of me one after another. Especially with what greets me once I get to the foyer. Though it's dark, the large windows illuminate the area much more easily than any of the other rooms. And from where I stand at the top of the stairs, I can easily make out their forms. Recognize them even. It's all gone crazy when these intruders come into my house. I'm no stranger to a cop playing dirty. Smart ones knew that neither life nor criminals were going to play fair. And if one of this that word's sword is in on it, I'm not surprised too. But Lily, the estate agent, she doesn't seem the sort. And Daisy too? What will Kylie think of her Miss Pink if the poor tyke finds out about this? To top it all off, they all have the nerve to look surprised when I announce my presence.
Well, well, what have we here? If I were any less sober, I'd say this is the beginning of a joke.
Bloody trespassers. What is wrong with these people? Did they really think I'd be fine with them walking into my home like this? What are they even doing in here? If I didn't know any better, they might also be behind Hana's disappearance.
That's right, my love.
They must have a motive.
Make them pay.
And it better be a good one.
For all the wrong they've done to us.
Or a bullet to the head is the least of all of them will deserve.
Let's see. A photographer, a high school teacher, and a real estate agent walk into a mansion.
Thunder crackles once again, cutting me off. This time, it hits close enough that it nearly feels as if the windows and the ground itself are rumbling. All is deathly still for a moment. I don't let it stop me, however, as I slowly make my way towards them, taking one careful step at a time, relishing the expression of fear in their eyes. I suppose there's something ominous in this setting, what with the heavy rain outside and the lack of light in here. I kind of like it, to be honest. Adds something to the atmosphere. I suppose I must look like the villain now. But short of me getting close to them, a noise to my left distracts me, briefly halting my movements, while curiosity takes over every murmur in my mind. And it's a good thing, too, perhaps, that I did. Because as soon as I look up, I see him. Another trespasser. Great. Just as he's about to jump down from the furniture that has somehow ended up piled and blocking the door to the parlor. What happened here? And did he really think it's alright to do that in other people's houses? Lout.
Teach him
my hands already moving forward before any rationale can stop me, fingers firm at my gun when I finally release the safety from it and take aim. Not at him, but at his friends. They are his, aren't they? Why else would they be here together? Doesn't matter. He won't let the people he cares about be harmed. My fingers on the trigger more than itching to shoot, but I hold back. Sure, I could have simply taken aim at him. But more than seeing him bleed, I want to see the expression on his face once he realizes everything he's doing is futile. He's trapped. Lives are in my hands. His life is in my hands.
Had I known there would be a party in my own home tonight, I would have opened a bloody bottle or two. People these days, in my own home. Can you believe it? I feel so left out.
I can tell the exact moment the realization dawns on him. A short second of his body freezing and blood draining from his face as soon as his feet hit the floor and he looks up. He's already a prey, trapped by his own recklessness.
How pathetic.
And really, Daisy, even you, what would Kylie say?
Luke, this isn't what you're thinking. You have to listen to us. There's something going on here.
Well, obviously, why else would people be trespassing in my home? What about little Lily over there, then? What's your excuse? Checking back if your clients are doing okay? Is that it? Is this what this is? Oh, we're doing good, by the way.
Sir, please.
Oh, please what?
Becca's right, sir. We need to get out of this place. You need to leave.
Tut, not a good enough excuse, darling. You people are the ones who need to get out of my sight. Don't worry, I might consider pressing lighter charges for the woman. Can't say the same for the rest of you. But really now, I swear the people of this city need to be taught the meaning of privacy. This is how you want to start the week. Why don't we just go with a bloody massacre if we want to surprise people in their homes, huh?
It's just a passing remark, of course. I'm not stupid enough to do something that'll bring negative attention to myself. Reputation and all that. I can't just risk it. The thought of having more dead bodies here, it's already quite too much. It will literally be overkill, especially for someone like me. Nevertheless, joke or not, Feathers wastes no time drawing his own gun at the slight waving of my own, even if he knows it's already too late. Still, he glares at me. Still, he fights back.
Now, Feathers. Manners. You're in no position to be pointing that gun at people.
There's no desperation in him like I'm hoping. Just an annoyance flickering shortly before being hidden underneath a challenge. The likes of him are the kind of people I hate the most. Even with their failures already glaring down at them, mocking every worthless move they make, they have the impudence to stare people in the eye.
Why don't you put yours down first, and then we'll talk about manners.
Oh, he talks back. The gall! You know, your kind pisses me off so much.
Annoying most of the time, like a damn pest you can't be rid of. But to some degree it is commendable. I'll give him that. After all, we're almost the same in that regard. Almost. I'm the better person, of course. He tells me to put the gun down, but I see no reason why I should. I'm a homeowner in defense of my own home. I have the right to, I'd like to think. Questionable permit of firearms aside. It's not like I wanted this. But I'm already high-strung and their presence does not help. Bloody peasants. I can never seem to figure out how their minds fully work. And I should have also expected he wouldn't let this end in some kind of standstill.
Sorry about this. I really don't have time for you.
A short lapse. That's all it is. One moment of letting my guard down. Before I can react, he fires 2 shots in quick succession. Sound crackling through the empty foyer, almost as loud as the storm raging outside, breaking the tense air in the room. Pain explodes in my wrist no 2 seconds later. Just a graze, however. It is enough to cause my fingers to tense and the pistol slides to the floor with a dull thud.
Why, you insolent!
The next moment happens in a blur. In the following second, I am being tackled bodily to the ground, back hitting the cold floor hard and an arm pinning me down by the neck. There's a fleeting minute of panic and struggle while I try to untangle myself from him before he manages to knock me out. And then, a scream. A wail piercing through the thick air. Shrill and sharp enough for the both of us to cover our ears and hunker down on our knees. And with each sharp note beating harshly against my head are the images again. Faces and voices so utterly unfamiliar, seeping into every crevice, turning sinister with each shift. They are not mine, but they might as well be with how vivid and crisp they appear. Over and over, they all flash behind my eyes until it becomes unbearable. Pounding, throbbing, thudding against my skull, worse than any headache a hangover can give. Bloody, I'd take a hangover over this any day. A haze begins to fill my vision as black spots dance around the corners of my eyes. Beside me, the detective suddenly moves, shouting a name I don't quite hear, and then... In the next second, he falls, down on one knee, desperately trying to keep himself up with what strength he has left. But eventually his own body caves in, taking the horrified Lily down with him, muttering quietly to her as something distinctly red flows from his body. Blood? This man isn't supposed to be dead yet. He isn't supposed to... I didn't shoot him. I'm sure of it. So what killed him? What in bloody blazes is going on here? Is it so wrong to just want a quiet night where nothing needs attending to? Just one normal night? Quickly, everything has turned crazy with perilous happenings that are hard to explain. But it seems that when it comes to me, death is always around the corner. I want to look him over. This isn't going to cause more problems. All this screaming and crying for a detective who's died for no apparent reason is giving me a migraine. I need to get all of these people out of my house one way or the other. But in the blurry mess of my vision, none of this registers enough to compel my body to move. Nothing does. Except for the voice unexpectedly ringing above the discord, and when I finally gather the strength to look up, everything falls away into the background. All that matters is her.
I told you, didn't I? Everything you're doing is useless, Ashton Frey. And now, you're dying. Meddlesome fool.
Hannah? You're not supposed to be here.
For a moment, I wonder if it had been me who died and not her. After all, that could be the only logical explanation as to why I can hardly draw a breath while she stands there. Of course, another logical explanation could be that I'm high and this is a really, really bad trip. Either reason doesn't suit me. Though it can't very well be the former. Even from down here, I can see the blood that stains her dress. Seeing that makes me feel as if my hands are covered in them once more. Warm and sticky, sweet and sickly.
Oh, Luke, darling, my love. You look so upset. Are you not happy to see me?
But let's be honest here. Any explanation, any reason as to why a dead woman walks once more is a bad one for me. Especially when it's one I killed. I mean, how even?
How can this be? You're...
Do you not find my presence desirable anymore, my love?
What sort of sick joke is this?
Tell me what's wrong, my dear prince. Does my presence leave you so speechless?
She says with a smile on her face, stiff and forced. A dead body's parts doesn't seem as malleable as they would be on a living human. She takes a step forward and her movements are stiff and choppy, like a corpse being forced into position despite the rigor mortis, like the corpse that she should be. I find my voice once more when she takes a careful step forward. Just the thought of that thing approaching just makes my skin crawl. She stops to listen, fixated on my voice and my words.
No, you're not. You're not supposed to be here. You can't be here. You're dead.
The I killed you is left unsaid considering present company.
And I have returned. For you. You don't have to do this. You can still have it all, Luke. Just please. Don't you love me? We would have been so beautiful.
I can still hear her pleas as she begs me not to be rid of her. Not once have I forgotten this particular crime of mine. No matter how much I wash my hands, I can still see her blood on them. She's dead. That is an irrefutable fact, and nothing short of the devil would bring her back.
Why are you acting this way, my love? Does this not make you happy?
I feel like there's something lodged in my throat. And my heart feels like it's being sat on with how tight my chest feels.
Of course I'm happy to see you again, Hannah. Of course I love you, Hannah. But how do I know you're... How do I know you're you, darling?
Whatever do you mean? You look perturbed. Why not come here? I can make you feel better.
If by act of some malevolent god she was back, I don't think she would take too kindly to what I had done to her. This certainly isn't what I would expect. Not the fixated gaze or these loving words. There's no accusation in them, no anger, when Hannah has every right to look at me so. My guilt is overshadowed by the oddity of these illogical circumstances.
No. Stay where you are. Stay back. Don't go near me. Don't touch me.
It is that rejection which turns her expression utterly, absolutely fearsome. And everything turns to complete and utter shite. Hannah's body shudders and shakes, as if she's about to have a seizure until her visage ripples and changes. Golden and yellow hair slowly stained with inky black, and her face melts into that of the woman, the maid from before, with a menacing expression on her face. Along with it is the shifting of the very ground we stand on. It's a slow thing, a whisper more than a bang as the darkness creeps into every corner of the room. The walls shudder and groan. Blood runs from the ceiling, crawls down the walls and stains the floor. It feels as if life itself is being sucked from the house, slowly but surely. The beauty of the place is gone, with only the dead, decaying remains of a mansion left in its wake. I don't have to wonder if it's just the foyer that's become this nightmarish place. I can already see it. Gone are the growling of thunder and the lashing of rain and wind against the foyer's high windows. All of it has been replaced by a more grating sound. A cacophony of voices from nowhere and everywhere, echoing throughout the now horrid walls. Voices that neither belong to us, nor the people who live here.
What's going on?
Help! Please!
All throughout the house, shouts of alarm and surprise ring out, a mirror to the horror creeping up in each of us. Who wouldn't be shocked? This is insane. Even Daisy, feisty woman that she is, trembles at the sight of it, clinging desperately to Lily and Steele, who stands protectively in front of the two. I suppose it only makes sense for the man to take on that role when their friend is gone. Something to hold on to when there seems to be no end in sight to this insanity. If anything, this only feels like it's the beginning of the end.
Help me. Oh my God. Please, somebody. Anybody. Who are you? Stay away.
No. Stay away.
Oh, that sounds like the butler.
Stay away.
Mother of God, pray for us sinners.
I'm sorry.
Her screams fill the mansion. She laughs all the while, a harsh, agonizing sound that goes on for what feels like forever. Until there is nothing but silence, her horrid smile and pale hands reaching out to me, calling, beckoning, pleading. I'm terrified. I really am, like I should be, but I have never been one to truly stay afraid. I've long learned that fear will not get me anywhere. Cowering in a corner doesn't keep me safe, and it will not keep me alive. Not like rage does. I've learned to use this burning hate inside of me to survive. There's no difference now.
Stay away from me!
Why do you wish to leave? This is where you belong, my lord. Remember the blood you shed. The very same one that now taints this house, along with many others.
I did not do this, you lie! I did nothing!
What of her then? Your wife, your sunshine. Doesn't her blood already stain these halls? Stain your hands?
Then, Hannes, really? You're the one who... You killed her. Your own wife!
She's lying!
The words sound so familiar. Just a few days ago, I've spouted the same ones at that vile woman who ruined everything. If it weren't for that munter, that harlot... But it's no use. The seed has already been planted in their heads. Defending myself, especially against the likes of him, is pointless. Bloody hell, even Daisy's now looking at me with the same revolting stares people have given me once they know of my dirt.
So it's true then? With Hannah? Hannah, Luke?
I don't know what she's talking about. Are you that gullible, Daisy? Do you really believe the words of a murderer? She killed your friend over there.
Now you deny it. Pointing fingers, aren't we? You see, my love, no difference. No difference, you and I. Just like the rest of us. Just like every single soul in this putrid wreck. We've waited for so long. You can hear them, yes? Their pleas, their calls, their invitation. Come, my lord. The house seeks its master.
The monster reaches out again, her hands a gory, abhorrent sight, along with that smile spread across her face. My body's already moving on instinct, stumbling back one step at a time in a desperate bid to be away from her. Anything to put distance between me and this vile creature. No matter what she says, I am nothing like her. I need to get out of this house, out of this country preferably. There's nothing for me here, not anymore, nothing to keep tied to this place. With Hannah gone, Shrokin likely taken by this woman as well, nothing left to bind me to this wretched city. I can leave. My foot steps on something, sending me sliding on my back and fall flat on the floor. Beside me, a paper, familiar one flutters down. It's that thing again from the open house. Though it feels less like a gimmick, more like a threat with recent events. It must have fallen from the detective in the commotion earlier. And with its owner having died a gruesome death, now it simply bears its equally grisly message for everyone in the room to see. Help me. Help me. Help me. Is this it? What they've been telling us? Why everything in my life has gone to shite? Because of some stupid old letter? An invitation indeed. One I am not willing to accept. Not any time. From the top of the stairs, the creature moves again, drawing my attention back to her. Her gait remains slow and awkward as she walks forward, that smile never leaving her. But I won't give her the chance. I am not dying here. Adrenaline kicks in. Despite panicked gasps and wordy glances from Daisy's friends, I pay them no mind as I reach for the main door and, without warning, the door slams open, revealing not the mansion grounds like I am expecting. Before my mind can even comprehend what's happening, black tendrils have already coiled tightly around my limbs, dragging every person in the foyer into the room. None of us even get to scream when the darkness completely envelops us upon the doors closing.
Understand where your place is now, my love. You belong here. Is it so difficult to grasp? We've been waiting.
There's a moment of panic when the feeling of the tendrils around my limbs finally dissipates. As soon as my eyes adjusted to the darkness of the room and I'm on my feet, I'm reaching for my knife and holding it out, watching everything for every movement, using it as a way to put distance between me and these peasants. Who knows what they'll do to me now that they know what I've done? There's only 4 of us in this room, 3 of them friends at that, and only me. I cannot trust these people not to turn on me. I cannot trust anyone. Not anymore. Not after this. Despite the pleading looks Lily shoots my way while they all huddle in the corner behind steel, I have to remind myself that even people like her are capable of doing the unpleasant. She's only human after all. It's never an excuse. Why, even Hannah had her cunning, manipulative moments, though she did it much subtler than I. Why else would Lily show this letter to us that day if not to save herself? I guess that backfired on her now that she and her own friends are also stuck here. Still, I have every right to be livid. Everything that I've built has fallen apart. My wife, my children, all because these people came into our lives.
You 3, all of you This is all your fault! If I'm dying to this bloody curse, I'm taking you all down with me!
Oh, I saw Rebecca in the background. She was not pleased with that.
Hey now, Mr. Wright. I know the situation ain't good, but we have to calm down. We're all in the same boat here.
You shut your mouth! If it weren't for you, for this letter, for all of you,
Hana.
none of this would have happened! Hana would still be...
Rebecca again. Suddenly, Daisy steps up and slaps the knife away from my hand.
Don't you dare, Luke! Don't you dare put that blame on us!
Without batting an eye, glaring at me as if she might just rip my head off in this instant. Said knife slides uselessly under the table, out of my reach. I should have expected she's not the kind to submit even under threat. For all the black man's height right now, all of us appear smaller facing her anger.
Last I checked, we're not the one whose hands have been stained with his wife's own blood.
And what about your friend over there? Are you saying she is responsible for this mess? For the lives this sorting letter took? Dragging other people into her own problems just so she could save her little sorry self? You think I haven't seen that before? Getting real tired of your double standards, Daisy!
You know this curse is an entirely different issue from what you've done, Luke. Because, knowing you, I don't doubt that even without that blasted letter, you would have eventually—
Rebecca, stop! All of you stop this!
To hear Lily speak out loud, I can't say I'm not surprised. She has always given me the impression of someone so meek from the moment I've met her, either from her inexperience or her station in life. She has never struck me as someone fitting to be a real estate agent. If anything, that meltdown she had during the open house had only proved my assumptions. Until now. Quietly, she puts herself between me and Daisy, cutting whatever scathing words we've yet to hurl at the other. The way she glares at me, it reminds me a little of the way my own mum would look at me, particularly when I've done something wrong. And it's not a stare she's unused to showing. She has done this before. Probably to a younger sibling. Huh. If she only sees us now as a pair of squabbling kids and not two mature adults, well, that's only to be expected. No doubt that's how she sees us. For a long moment, there's only silence in the room. Still, the big oaf doesn't even dare break it, merely watching the three of us behind two women who he towers over significantly. Too soft. Not that it matters when Lily starts speaking again, after some of the anger and tension has lifted from the room.
Stop this, please! With or without that damn piece of paper,
A deep breath. An exhale. And then she closes her eyes, a crease forming between her eyebrows while she grips her hand tightly in front of her.
We still would have ended up in this mess.
The atmosphere that descends into the room right after that admission is anything but pleasant. Can I call it that? An admission? Seems like it from the way her eyes nervously flick between her friends and I. She appears to know more than she lets on, and how she makes herself appear smaller after dropping that bomb on us doesn't quite sit well with me. And patience is something I don't have the luxury of having right now and bestowing upon other people. What else does this girl know? What else is she not telling us? Because from the looks of this, even her friends has no idea what she's talking about. Unwilling to wait, I grab her arm before she retreats without explanation, waving the letter still in my hand in front of her.
Ow! Sir, you're hurting me!
Luke, will you stop taking it out on every single person?
Your friend is hiding something, Daisy.
She struggles for a moment, but my hold eventually forces her to look up at me. Fear and uncertainty spread across her features, especially when her eyes land on the damned paper. As much as I want to be considerate right now, I want answers.
What do you mean, Lily?
I'm not sure about it.
Don't give me that, you know something!
Ow! Please, sir! I know the paper's useless, okay? Those people they mentioned in the news lately, all those who died, my co-workers, the open house clients, none of them had seen it, even Rose. And yet they're all dead. I should know, sir. That letter has been with me since I picked it up. And I swear I didn't make copies of this thing. Even if I wanted to save myself, I wouldn't do that to my friends. Or anyone.
And yet we're all here! Are you taking me for a fool, Lily?
We would have ended up here either way. Maybe? I really don't know. Sir, please. All I know is that paper isn't the reason why all of this is happening. There's something else that...
This place.
Steele had been quiet this entire time, but the sound of him talking, however whispered it is, still managed to catch us all off guard. We all paused, turning to him, likely the same questions in our eyes.
What?
I just remembered something, a friend told me. You know, stuff about ghosts, or curses. You probably don't want to hear it.
No, it might be something. What about this place, Zach? Maybe it's also the reason why Ash went here.
There's still a moment of hesitation in him, but the mention of their dead friend appears enough reason to spur him into speaking.
Remember what I told you the last time you and Ash visited? A few days ago?
A pause while he allows Lily to remember. Soon enough, whatever it is dawns on her and her face lights up with something like hope. Of all things in this nightmare, hope. Her head snaps up and she reaches for Steele's arms to give it a squeeze. A reassurance or a confirmation. The meaning is lost even to Daisy, who glances at the baffled.
Belle, what are you? Becca, it's this place. Think about it.
Then they proceed to tell some ridiculous narrative about the supernatural. Stories about ghosts, legends, curses born out of great anger and pain and whatever else people use to scare children. Not that I believe any of it, as if knowing will help. Bunch of loons, these people, officially off their rockers. To think I'd be stuck in this nightmare with people like them. What did I ever do to the world? Of course, it's all absurd until...
I think it's just like what the professor guy said. Just like that old story. This mansion and some other thing might be keeping her here. You know, something he wanted in life, but never got to have. Something like that.
Or maybe it's not something, Zachary.
Someone. Who doesn't have to be uttered aloud? There's only one person in this room who that woman calls after. Every single one of them has heard it. Bloody hell. It's in the reluctant shift in Daisy's eyes when they flicker over to me, though only briefly. She's also holding information on her own. Or perhaps a realization she just had. Doesn't matter. I know when people have slowly started to turn on me. How do you think I lasted in this cutthroat world? Betray them before they do the same to you. Put a knife in their back before they can act. Or kill or be killed. Survival in a nutshell. Why did they think I put Hannah out of the picture before she can cry for help and ruin everything? What now? Are they going to throw me at that creature? See what happens to save themselves? I am no fool.
No. You're all in on this, aren't you? Of course! Of fucking course!
Luke, that isn't what I...
My hands are already on the door, pushing it open before she finishes. Betrayal or not, this isn't anything new. They may not be thinking of it right now, but eventually, trapped in this nightmare, the first thing to do is put distance between us before a plan even hatches in their minds. There's 3 of them. Only one of me. I have to get out of here. Find an exit to this place, or a way to get rid of each of them. But karma, the little damned thing, seems to be at work here. Because when the door swings open and I barrel into the next room, there's only a reminder of the blood I've shed. Of her. Of them.
You don't have to do this. You can still have it all, Luke. Just please, don't you love me?
It's not only her sobs that I hear, but his, hers, theirs. I'll never know now, will I? What kind of life I would have lived with them? If I will ever be a father better than my own. But I suppose I have my answer now. I killed them all. I killed them after all. It's their blood that stains my hands and this room.
So beautiful.
By my own doing, I've ended all of it. Even before anything has begun. Now their blood drips from every wall, pooling at every inch of the floor, leaving a sorry mess at the hem of my pants with every step I take into the room. Like the cold, suffocating embrace of my sins, the dread from the sight creeps up my limbs. Slow and unhurried. Twisting and turning. Up And up it goes until nothing but a sharp, guttural cry escapes from my mouth and a realization. It hits me like a gut punch, sending my knees buckling and the rest of me sprawling. Behind me, Daisy shouts, a worried cry, running into the room and placing a comforting hand on my shoulder. Followed after her are Steele and Lily, lingering by the doorway to that room. Hannah's little nursery, or at least it's supposed to be one, until things in this place have gone haywire. I can't even bring myself to look at it.
Are you all right? You vampot. Don't just run off like that. We don't know what's going on in this house.
But the sharp timbre, always present in her tone, pales in comparison to every voice ringing in my ears, along with Hannah's and the distinct cry of babies everywhere. How many people have died here, I wonder? How many of them are still trapped in here? Because it isn't just that creature's murmurs and pleas that I hear. It isn't just my wife's or the life she carried in her, but hundreds, thousands of them. Not that it matters now, when I know I've also doomed Hannah and my own children to this nightmare. Somehow, out of everything, it's the thought of them trapped in here that sets me on the edge, sends my stomach churning and bile rising up my throat. Then, slowly, a laughter. I also laughed back then, didn't I? The moment my eyes had seen what was to be of that room. Days later, Shrokin asked if I'm happy, that bastard. I suppose I have a clear answer now. There's no happiness in this. Despite the chuckles and giggles spilling forth, there's only a hollow void.
Don't deserve them, Daisy! Any of them!
And there's only one way to fix this. We are left with a new choice. Instead of burning the mansion down or burning the letter, we have two possibilities. Now I'm going to pick the selfish one, because Luke is very selfish. This isn't how things are supposed to end. Not like this. Not for me. Not after everything I've built for myself. What kind of bullshit is this in the first place? That I am doomed to die? Me? The great Luke Wright? After surviving a shithole of a childhood, I am going to die being a self-sacrificing idiot? Like hell. There might not be happiness in this, but when has that stalked me before? When has killing someone did? When has dirtying my hands with the blood of the people getting in my way did? Money, power, I want it all, and if it warrants a life, then so be it. In the end, Hannah and her unborn are nothing but another addition to the list of people I've sacrificed to get what I want. This, them.
You don't need them.
That's right. They are nothing. I only need myself to survive. Kill or be killed, this is the kind of world we live in. Ruthless, cruel, unforgiving. It's what Damien Wright had taught me. It's what life has taught me. It's about time people like them learn. It's just a pity they will have to go through it the hard way. They had the chance earlier. They've given up. It's only right that I take what they've abandoned for myself. Too soft. They are too soft. Even Daisy, for all the feisty attitude she brings with her. She merely gives me a baffled look when I push myself from the floor, staring at me with only a slew of questions in her eyes as I slowly back away from the room. It doesn't even occur to them. Poor little things. Idiots.
Luke, what are you?
Not until I'm already out the door and pushing it open. Only then does dread and fear set in their faces. Expressions I know too well. All from the people who have met the business end of my knife or gun, or both. Hannah had something similar on her face when she croaked. Funny how in death, we're all the same.
I'd really love to stay and chat with all of you. What with two lovely ladies here, but I'm afraid I have business to attend to. A shame, isn't it?
You bloody bastard! Becca, he's going to...
Her warning comes a little too late. The sound of the door slamming and locking behind me cuts her off. Not that I care. From inside I can already hear their panic, but I don't stay. The mansion has calmed down. In fact, it seems to have done so for me, like a praise for a job well done. And maybe I do deserve it. Not many have the guts to defy 3 people of their lives in one go. The terror in their voices flittering through the door. It's all too entertaining to hear. When was the last time I've done such? Certainly not after my marriage with Hannah. But why should I waste time listening here? Like I've told them, I have things to do. I'm a busy man. Quickly, I make a break for it before one of them decides to bring the doors down. And sure enough, right when I reach the bottom of the stairs, the main door is almost at arm's reach. A crash echoes from upstairs, followed by hurried footsteps and curses. Vivid, colorful ones spilling one after another from their mouths. Their mothers would have been proud.
Becca, he's gone! Where?
That fucking ballbag! How dare he! If I get my hands on him!
Guys, he's already downstairs!
If only their feet were as fast as their mouths, I might have given them bonus points for trying. But alas, we may all end up in the same place after death, but getting there will never be the same for any of us. For me? This hellhole is definitely not where I'm snuffing it, and I will damn well make sure of it. Even if it means sacrificing a few useless nitwits. Their fists pounding hard against the door when they finally reach it. Pushing, pulling, trying to budge the bloody thing open with all their might. Yelling at the top of their lungs, begging even in a futile attempt to get me to open it. It's useless, however. For them, these doors won't open once locked without a key. And why should I let them? I'm not an idiot. A betrayal of this kind? Well, what did I tell people about stabbing you in the back once you turn around and give them an opening? Only you matter, my lord, my love. You have no need for them. We have no need for them. I say, never give them the chance. Let them rot. From the other side of the door, though, please continue. Until a laughter rings from the other side. My vile, menacing. And I can only feel relief that I am not there with them, left at the mercy of that woman. Soon the ground trembles and the air shifts with their screams, while a thick, acrid smell filters from the room beyond. And all at once... Damn! A silence. Deafening. Still. The same hush that comes after a terrible storm has swept the countryside. And with it is the sight of the sun rising above the horizon. Ever so slowly, the sky begins to lighten before my eyes. Darkness giving way to the warm morning hues, soft rays spilling over the vast expanse of Luxborn's countryside. Nearby, the trees sway and rustle with the breeze, a passing draft cold enough to make me shiver, the remains of a storm that has passed. In the distance, I can hear the soft chirping of birds, while the rest of the world stirs, wakes. Dawn at last. I am free.
You see, my love, no difference. No difference, you and I.
A curious local finds the bodies within the mansion months later, and whispers quickly spread across Luxborn City upon its discovery. Officers who investigated it have deemed the mystery of the Ermengarde Mansion deaths as another tragedy brought upon the city by the Anslem Butcher. But for those who still believe in the stories of the old and those who know the truth, it is but a testament to the curse and the secrets the Ermengarde Mansion has hidden for centuries. If there will come a time those will finally be revealed, only the hallowed halls of the mansion know. To this day, it stands silent. However, on nights when the wind howls and thunder booms across the sky, some still claim hearing of voices within, of cries and wails that fill nights, and desperate calls of help for anyone who dares listen. As for the ones who lives, Luke Wright immediately left the city before news has ever broken. By the time anyone has caught wind of what has happened in the mansion, he's already long gone. All of his bank accounts have been emptied, including all of his Luxborn apartments, leaving not a single trace of clue where he might be hiding. The last anyone has seen of him was on a flight bound for Barcelona, Spain. No one has heard from him since, even as people from Wright Enterprise, who have been left reeling for months with the absence of their CEO. Publicly named as the Ansem Butcher by Luxborn authorities, the once affluent businessman has become one of the country's most wanted. However, up until now, he is yet to be found, as are the answers he has taken with his departure. But let's see some actual remorse. One way to correct a mistake. Mistake. Is it even one? Isn't this what I wanted for myself? To have everything? Money, power, hell, even women. Don't I have that freedom now and so much more? I married her for this. This has always been the plan, had things not been derailed. Get rid of the dad, marry the starry-eyed Harris, acquire the company, and make her disappear. Make it appear like a terrible accident. Clean, efficient. Yet somehow, it feels wrong to use that word. I loved her, didn't I? This is a sin, more like. Perhaps one that deserves an equal punishment of death. A life for a life sort of deal. Payment for the countless other lives I've also ruined and ended to get where I am. There used to be satisfaction in this. In getting what I want. Now I only feel remorse.
This is going to get me, no matter what I do, isn't it?
Luke, we can't stay here. We have to find a way out. We have to...
Go.
What? What are you talking about?
You heard me, Daisy. Go. Leave. Have you also gone deaf now?
Sir, is this about what we said? Forget about that. We're not leaving anyone here. Ash wouldn't want that.
As if I give a damn shite about him, he still pisses me off. If anything, he should be the one thanking me. I'm saving his friends. I suppose I should make a note of that. Something to keep in mind in case we're ever going to meet in the afterlife. Provided we end up in the same place. Crap I've done? I'll likely end up in the 7th level of hell. Funny how easy it is to think of these things with your death looming over you. Or maybe it's simply because I'm getting old. Well, not that old, but it certainly feels like it. I've done a lot of shitty stuff in my lifetime. So maybe this one time, I might as well do some good. Pushing myself off the floor is a struggle on its own. More from the metaphorical weight on my shoulders than the pain in my limbs or this headache. There's no backing out now, I suppose. Even if Daisy still doesn't quite understand what I mean. There she sits, looking up at me with nothing but worry. I wonder if in a different lifetime, we would have been friends. Had I been born to a more decent family, where Damien Wright took me away from the slums before I even learned how to use a knife.
Daisy, do fetch me one final drink, would you? There's a stash in that dresser beside you.
She quietly hands me one as I've requested, but only after a look of protest flickers across her face. I look at anywhere but her, fixated on the colorful glass bottle she has just handed over to me before I pop open the cork and take a swig. Or rather, a huge chug of the stuff. There's some delight when I feel a delightful burn in the back of my throat and realize that it isn't exactly wine I have in my hand. Whiskey. How quaint. How fitting. This explains where the rest of the alcohol is.
This isn't the time for some booze, Luke. We're still stuck in this bloody nightmare. A little sense of self-preservation from you would be really nice.
Such a nag. Though I don't think Hannah would much appreciate me drinking in our room either. Or at all, if she had anything to say about it. Probably say something scathy and witty like, "You might as well shoot yourself in the liver, Lucille. Really now." Well, she can just tell me about it once we see each other again.
You, Steel, isn't it? Make sure your friends make it out of this place in one piece. It shouldn't be too hard for you, right?
Wait, what about you?
For all the weakness he displays, at least this man knows the right questions to ask. And that is exactly when it dawns on Daisy, her concern quickly melting into an expression of utter horror. Any other day, I would have laughed loudly at that. To think she cares. I'm almost touched.
What are you... Don't be ridiculous, you ball bag!
You're kidding, right? Look, Wright. Mr. Wright. There must be some other way.
This isn't going to solve anything, you numpty! You're just giving her what she...
Daisy, or Rebecca, do me a favor and watch over Kylie for me. The Rugrat shouldn't be allowed more than one glass of parfait a day. Her father spoils her too much.
Why don't you do that yourself? I'm not her godparent, you are!
I have to stifle the giggles that threaten to spill uncomfortably. I'm not yet drunk, but I might as well be. Losing my mind, perhaps.
I'm afraid I won't be able to. You're going to have to apologize to her for me as well. You see, Daisy, where I'm going, there's no coming back from.
A smile. Then I'm dousing the entire room with the remaining liquor before a word escapes their mouths. They can only watch. I can tell they don't approve of this, but what can they do? It's my house. I can do whatever I want with it. And it doesn't take long for Steele to catch on. He's seen this ugly side of me more than anyone else. There's still reluctance in him, of course. The man remains soft even for people who have openly hated him. A hesitation in him, even as he's pulling the two women away from the room, quickly ushering them through the doors that should lead them to the hallway.
But, Luke, we can't...
Go on, Daisy. There's nothing left for you here.
A long moment of silence, of conflict and pain flashing fleetingly across her face. We never did get along much, Daisy and I. Though right now, I like to think that she has come to care for a rotten bloke like me the way she might do for another friend. Unable to meet my eyes, perhaps out of some uncalled-for guilt, she simply reaches out for both my arms and gives me a light squeeze. And then, in a voice so low and whispered,
"This is what you want."
Not a question, merely a statement. A fact. One that deserves an equal honesty. Funny. I've never been the honest sort.
Yes.
I'm sorry. We're sorry.
The look on Daisy's face before Steele closes the door behind them? Odd. There's no other word for it. It's the same one my own mum has given me, along with the same words. A gift, I suppose. I considered them back then. I never understood the use for it. It's not like she didn't take care of me like a mother should. Eleanor Chandler did more than that. But seeing such a strikingly similar expression on Daisy, I understand it now. It was not for her misgivings as a mother. It was for all the what-ifs, could-haves, and should-haves. Things that will never be, because it's far too late.
I'm sorry, too.
Under the room's low light, the amber liquid gleams tauntingly where it has landed. On the floor, on the bed, on the walls, on every dresser its splatter has reached. It's brighter, of course, when it's set alight, but I don't wait for it to spread. If I am to die here, this place also has to go. Burned to the ground with every sin and horror it hides. I suppose this is the closest I can get to an atonement. Without a single glance back, I take the rest of my liquor stash from the dresser with me, and heading instead for the door to Hannah's nursery. It opens to the study before, though, with how fucked up this place is, I'm not entirely sure what I'll find next. One thing's certain.
Somebody! Anyone! Help me! Help us! Luke, please! Our children!
Somewhere in this house, she waits. I allow her voice to lead me, following her cries and pleas as I go and douse each room I pass with alcohol and set it ablaze. Not a comforting thing to hear, but certainly a better sound than an agonizing wail. Amid the gore and the horror, it's the closest thing I can cling to, including the stray thoughts that has somehow chosen to surface. Short bursts of memory I've always been fond of, more than I care to admit, either out of fear or embarrassment.
How about Botany Bay, Luke? In Kent? It's gorgeous there.
I don't know, Buttercup. Don't you think it's a little too far from here? Remember, I still have a company to manage.
Well, it won't always be that way, yes? And maybe we can also get a dog.
I suppose.
So, someday?
Someday, Buttercup. Someday.
In truth, a half-hearted response, spoken out of ignorance or some sort of complacency over the kind of life I assumed we'd have. Or I'd have. She was never meant to live past the second year of marriage. She has no idea how tempting those paltry dreams of hers now. A little house by the beach, a dog, our children, her, and the vast expanse of the sea before us. She was right. We would have been so beautiful. But as the whole of this place smolders, so do those. When I run out of liquor, I simply drop the bottle and take one off from the many nooks I've stashed one. And there's no lack of it in here. The hard stuff, the short stuff, the watered-down stuff, gift from distant relatives, friends, so-called friends. You name it. I've made sure there's always one within reach. Anna has called me out on this numerous times before, telling me I have a problem. I've always told her she doesn't know the half of it before completely dismissing her concerns.
Worry what? That woman.
Right now, however, I'll give everything to hear her say that again. If only for the last time. With each room I pass and burn, the place becomes easier to navigate, as if it's slowly righting itself, returning to what it's supposed to be. Soon I finally find myself standing before the door to the attic. From the bedroom nearby, the strong odor of burning wood, cloth, and varnish alike wafts from under the door, slowly filling the hall with a thick black smoke. Hopefully Steele is able to get his friends out of here before it's too late. The blaze has already started in earnest in every part of the house. I can already feel the heat seeping from the rooms I've set ablaze. In a matter of minutes, the flames will engulf the whole house. But there's one more place left. Upstairs, where her cries echo from. My feet fall hard and heavy against the old steps, a steep, rickety thing that should have been fixed during renovation. I suppose it's only fitting that this is where I make this march, trapped in the highest point of this place, as the rest of the world burns to the ground with me. A final fall. To death. To her. For some reason, nothing about this scares me. No matter how much I've dreaded this kind of end in the path. There is only calm, a stillness. The same hush that comes after a terrible storm has swept the countryside. Even as I open the door and I'm greeted not by Hannah's warm embrace, but her cold, chilling smile. But the reality is, of this, the terror doesn't take hold and sink until my knees hit the floor and I hear a whisper in my ear, in a voice so familiar yet different, reverberating inside my head in soft murmurs and sighs while her arms come from behind to rest across my chest.
You came home to us.
I guess hoping to see Hannah here is already asking for too much. Perhaps something I don't deserve even in death. Yet tears flow freely from my eyes despite the disappointment. Nothing but lightness in air, and the feeling of finally being released from shackles that has scratched me raw. Because at the end of this road is her. And I think this is it. This is how I die. A gradual descent to the abyss as everything around us goes up in flames. Beside me, the window blows out from the heat. But above the piercing sound of shattering glass is the rustling of trees against a light breeze. A passing draft that carries even into this room from outside, cold enough to make me shiver, strong enough to fan the flames further. In the distance, I can hear the soft chirping of birds while the rest of the world stirs, awakes. Ever so slowly, the darkness gives way to the warm morning hues. The soft rays of the morning sun, although all together, spilling into the window, stirring a distant memory of a laughter and a tender voice I long to hear one last time.
Thank you.
Ah, she's changed. She's no longer the angry ghost girl, but she's... Wow, okay, so she went from the maid. Ah, so the ghost is both the maid and Charlotte.
I did not do it for you.
Dawn. At last. And she is free. Well, that was an abrupt end to the song. I've unlocked a memory fragment of the girl being burned to death. And of Charlotte being haunted by the ghost. Oh, she's really literally writing it in her blood. Like the flames that engulfed the mansion that night, whispers quickly spread across Luxborn City after the incident. Officers who investigated it have deemed the tragedy of the Ermengarde Mansion an accident. An unfortunate outcome of a long-rumored domestic dispute between Luke and Hannah Wright, killing innocent lives. But for those who still believe in the stories of the old, and those who know the truth, it is but a testament to the curse and the secrets the Ermengarde Mansion has hidden for centuries. But there will come a time those will finally be revealed. Only the ashes of the now ruined mansion know. However, on nights when the wind howls and thunder booms across the sky, some still claim hearing of voices where it once stood. Of cries and wails that fill the nights, and desperate calls of help for anyone who dares listen. As for those who remain, Zachary Steele decided to give the movie industry another try a year later. This time, he brings a film that tells of a harrowing experience under the shadow of Ermengarde Mansion's curse. With help from Rebecca Gales and Isabella Santos on production, he's able to bring it to life 2 years later. But unlike his first foray into the indie scene, this one turns out to be a blockbuster hit, gaining him accolades from several award-giving bodies. Although the film has brought him considerable success and opportunity, Zachary claims it'll be the last film he will be making, remarking that he merely wished to tell the tale. A decision he has yet to change his mind on, much to his fans' disappointment. After the clamor for the movie has died down, he quietly returns to his freelance photography business, living a simple life in the same old apartment, away from the spotlight. All the same, he dedicates the film's success in honor of an unnamed friend. Determined to disclose the truth, Rebecca Gales writes a book detailing Luxborn City true history. With help from Professor Andrew Clark, she pieces together every omitted information from current accounts. Charlotte Ermengarde's role in the city's foundation and the truth behind the very woman who built it. This, in spite of the professor's stern warnings against bringing those to light. Charlotte Ermengarde has always been revered by the people of Luxborn after all. And sure enough, upon publication, it creates a huge stir. Although considered a masterpiece by some, even becoming a bestseller, it's also met with harsh criticisms from Luxborn's academic circles. Others believe it an attack to the city's way of life, outright condemning it. It does not take long for it to reach controversial status, and mere months after its release, the book becomes the subject of litigation, As a result, it has since been withdrawn from the shelves by publishers. To date, Rebecca continues the effort to bring it back to the market, knowing its worth. A war that she seems to be winning in time. Doing it not for herself, but for the memory of a dear friend whom the book has been dedicated to. Months after the incident, Isabella Santos has finally found the courage to pursue what she truly wants. Having made enough to keep her family afloat for a few years, with their blessing, she quits her job at Briar Realty Corporation and takes the scholarship offered by the local university. Slowly, she gains recognition, both in the local and international art scene, for her vivid depiction of death and suffering. Although continuously lauded for her talent, no one knows why she has chosen such a dark subject. She's kept mum about it throughout the years. Perhaps the closest answer the curious will get when she is asked is the slight shift of her eyes and the wistful look that crosses her face. A quiet glance towards a painting of a young man in her studio. Her best-known work, and strangely, the only one from her collection with an ardent expression of life and of a love realized far too late. From the Ashes. Oh, he would be proud. He would be so proud of that name. And it is only during those short, candid moments that she ever smiles again. Although now busy with their new lives after the curse, Isabella Santos, Rebecca Gales, and Zachary Steele remain close friends. A bond that has only grown tighter throughout the years. But even after so long, Ashton Frey's loss is still a grief all of them carry. And on the same day as what became known as Ermengarde Mansion tragedy to the public, they always make it a point to meet where he lies. Once a year, when they exchange stories and talk like the way they all used to. A shadow of what they were before the tragedy. Their way of coping with the sorrow that still looms over them. Though they never speak of it, and never will, each of them know that his death is a wound that may never heal. They can only carry on.
I knew the game was over before the rules were set. I've never been a winner. I didn't want to play. I thought there was a way out, but there's no exit from this maze, where every path is the wrong turn and every choice is a mistake. I lied to the Lord, I lied to myself, I lied to you and everyone I care, until there were no more lies to tell. Cowardice is easier than being brave, but at last I found the strength I lost to sing my love letter to you. 'Cause people can lie, but my lone heart beats true. It was a simple question, my answer came too late, and every time I said no, I wanted to say yes. They say speak your mind, tell the truth, but there is room for each regret. So many fears to overcome, so little time to conquer them. I lied to the Lord, I lied to myself, I lied to you and but my lone heart beats true. The ghost of guilt and sorrow remembers who I am, and in the prison of my heart, I was my only slave. But in the depths of my cold soul, I'll leave the burden and despair. I'll fight for what's worth fighting for. Forget the fear, forget the rest. I lied to the Lord, I lied to myself, I lied to you and everyone I care, until there were no more lies to tell. Cowardice is easier than being brave, but at last I found the strength I lost to sing my love letter to you. 'Cause people can lie, but my lone heart beats true.
And that's it. No stinger. That means we did it. We got the true ending. So, explanation time. Thank you for if you have stayed to the end of this video, but there is an explanation for the reason that the ending is the way it is. First and foremost, it subverts most games, which have basically everybody survives is like the true ending, regardless of, like, it could be a variation of happy endings, sad endings, like everybody's happy or everybody's sad, or there's like a mixture of the two. This game subverts that, which is what surprised me when I ran through that survival run, because I assumed that they were going to, that was the ending, and no, it's not. So the one hint that I found was that information is key. And that was actually in reference to the characters. Basically, you have to get as much information as you can in order to have all the information you need at the end of the game in order to unlock the true ending. The survival ending was really close, or at least my run of the survival ending was really close, simply because there was one character who basically provided all of the information they needed. And that was Professor Andrew Clark. And in order to unlock that, you need the three people that visit him throughout the story to make it past their chapters. And those three people were Isabella, Zach, and Becca, in that order. In order to get them to the final chapter, they have to survive their chapters, which means they automatically get to survive to the end. So that's the reason why those three ended up being the last one standing. Now, the reason why certain characters had to die, I feel really bad because Marianne died as well, but she was neither referenced or anything in the final chapter, and the reason I chose to keep the final to do the final chapter was because I assumed that it was going to be real throughout. Technically, it was her absence was revealed that she was dead, but as well as her line when we got to hear the voices of the departed. Yeah, I feel really bad that she never got shown, but at the same time, it's whatever. So, the explanation for the reasons for the victims had to die. As we saw in the survival ending, Hannah, Marianne, and Ash all objected to the plan. To the very idea of having to sacrifice someone in order to appease the spirit. They basically outright went, yeah, no, fuck that noise. And that's why we reverted to the burn the letter or burn the mansion. So we'll start with we'll start with the characters in order. Hannah, it's her husband. The only way to get her to survive her chapter is if you have a high enough affinity with Luke so that he doesn't fucking kill her. That, and well, basically to have her like have a good ending and be like of her faculties, is to have a good relationship with Luke. You can't open the cellar because she gets possessed and it leads into that ending. And if you have a low enough affinity with him, as we saw in this ending, she dies. So obviously she's not going to agree to an ending that involves killing her husband. And moreover with that, especially what we see in the final chapter after she dies, we see Luke's regret. We see that he if he could take it back, he would. He absolutely 100% would have taken it back. And I think that's sort of the final push that Luke needed in order to be open to the self-sacrifice that was required for the true ending. So Hannah's death was key here. Marianne's death is actually rather interesting, as it actually parallels Charlotte's death, as we saw throughout the game, and then the ending clips that we unlocked confirmed that Charlotte had the ghost girl Takato burned at the stake for witchcraft, and then Takato came back and haunted her. And that haunting is what led to Charlotte unaliving herself. As we saw from the two images. But Marianne's death actually sort of mirrors Charlotte's, in that the ghost sort of goads Marianne into wanting to unalive herself. And that's ultimately what she did. The difference between them, I think, is that Charlotte was tormented and followed around by Ghost Takako, versus Marianne, who was tempted by her guilt for Amy Lorraine. But it's actually really interesting, the parallels with that, and I guess that was the game's narrative of showing us that this is what happens, like this is what could do, and it sort of leads to the, like I said, it just connects the character to Charlotte, and we get to see what happened to Charlotte happened to a different character, and that's basically the game saying, look, this is what happened to Charlotte, this is why she unalived herself. And then finally, Ashton. Obviously he's a cop, he's not going to be willing to let somebody die in order to save everybody, even if it's a slimeball like Luke Wright. But more importantly, if you paid attention throughout his chapters, especially the moment he steps foot in the Ermengarde Mansion near the end, his death is basically foreshadowed.
It's useless, Ashton Frey. You are going to die.
And you are going to die alone.
Like, the game is hitting you over the head, telling you, no, he's gonna die, he's gonna die, he's gonna die. But I love the subversion at the end, especially like if you have other people who survived, like in the true ending. She got one thing wrong though. I did not die alone. That he sacrifices himself to save somebody. In this case, it was Isabella. And the reason it was Isabella here is I went through her romance option versus Becca's, because Ash and Isabella is canon as far as I'm concerned. Sorry, guys. But But yeah, no, it was basically, it's literally hitting the player in the face. He dies this chapter. He dies this chapter, and the fact that the ghost haunts him, and this is his real fear, is not only being unable to save his friends, but dying alone. The fact that he was able to say that one line at the very end of his chapter, that she was wrong, he didn't die alone, that speaks volumes. Because as much as he didn't want to leave, as he was resigned to it at that point. As soon as he got pierced, he's like, well, that's it. But it was interesting. No one else, and the most important thing is, no one else has this moment in their chapters at all. Not even Luke. Well, arguably Luke, maybe. Because, as we saw in the true ending, if he selects for them to go or leave, he self-sacrifices himself, and he has that moment where he's like, I want to see Hana again, and instead he's got the ghost, and the ghost thanks him, and he's like, yeah, no, I didn't do it for you, fuck off. But yeah, this was a really good game, and the fact that once you've got all the pieces together and you've got the correct path to the appropriate end of the game, it's definitely way more satisfying than my first playthrough. Definitely 100%. 10 out of 10 would play again. Speaking of, let's take a look at some of the stuff that we have encountered. We've got all of the things, obviously, we've got almost all of the sprites. We've got all of the sprites for everything up to chapter 4. We're missing a couple of sprites for chapter 5, which is fine. I think we're missing one sprite. Yeah, we're missing one sprite for chapter 6 rather, and a couple for chapter 7. I've still got a ways to go, but that's fine. That's fine. CGIs. Everybody but chapter 2. There's one more I've got to do, I guess, but I'll look that up later. And yeah, this definitely tells me that this one's probably Becca. Becca, and then probably Zach. And then this is probably him telling her to stay busy. And a bunch of other things. But yeah, there's that. And then... yep. And there's a couple of other ones that I have to figure out, but that's fine. We've got all of the memory fragments. We've got all the miscellaneous. And then the epilogues, we do have the true ending. Oh, well, we've got multiple true endings that we need. And that's probably low reputation and all of that. But, yeah. It's all done. It's done. It's over. And this is a great place to end it off. So thank you very, very, very much for joining me on this journey of the letter. I appreciate the views. I appreciate any sort of feedback or whatever that gets thrown my way. If there's none, I'm probably just talking out of my ass, but it's whatever. I appreciate whoever watches the video and who enjoyed it, despite the fact it's a 6-year-old game. And yeah, I had fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. But if you did, leave a like or subscribe. Please leave a like or subscribe. If not, leave a comment below letting me know what I can do to improve. And until the next video series, ciao.